Good morning, it's Who's Views. It's the 1st of October. It's time for breakfast. Yes, indeed. Good morning. It is the 1st of September. It's Sunday morning, so that does mean here we are with the WHOTASTIC panel breakfast crew. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Boy, have we got a packed show for you today. So we're going to crack on straight away. Good morning to you. Thank you for joining us. And we're actually going to start, everybody, with some sad news. Because, of course, over the last couple of days, it was announced that the actor Michael Gambon has sadly passed away at the age of 82. Now, of course, Michael Gambon was a well-known and established actor. The Cook, The Thief, The Wife and His Lover, loads of Shakespeare, The Wings of a Dove, Gosford Park, The King's Speech, of course, The Singing Detective, Cranford, who remembers Cranford, The Casual Vacancy, the voice of Uncle Mustuzio in Paddington, and, of course, known to millions in a new generation as Professor Dumbledore in the Harry Potter film series. Of course, to us, he is known for being in the 2010 Christmas special, A Christmas Carol with Matt Smith, where he played Kazran Sardik. First broadcast on the 25th of December in the UK, 2010. Got a lovely picture here of him as well, guys, from Catherine Jenkins, his co-star in that episode. And Catherine put out a lovely heartfelt tweet, X, whatever we're calling them now, with this lovely picture of them behind the scenes. But another great loss, guys.
Yeah, sad. I must admit, I loved The Singing Detective. That was one of my favourite dramas in the sort of mid-80s. Great show.
That was huge, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think I've still got the soundtrack for it on a cassette somewhere. I can't play it, but I've got a cassette of it. Yeah. So.
Oh, wow. Well, there we go. So we wanted to start the show with that because, you know, another talent, another legend, and obviously because of the Harry Potter films, and to an extent to Doctor Who as well, another cross-generational actor. We'll never see the like again. But we just wanted to say, as part of Who's Views on the Breakfast Show this morning, we're thinking and all thoughts to Michael Gambon's friends, family, and that's... What more can we say? He will be sadly missed. Sadly missed.
Absolutely.
God bless him.
Yes. Thank you, Michael, for everything.
Yeah, absolutely. We are here live for you this morning. If you're watching us live in the chat, please do get involved in the chat. Please give us your thoughts, your comments, your opinions. It's all welcome here on Who's Views. And as I say, we have got a very, very busy show for you this morning. We're going to start now with, Brendan. There's been a bit of a concert going on.
There has. You've got to be very lucky to get it. It's like one of Willy Wonka's 5 golden tickets. I mean, God, you've got to be lucky. But we're getting all the dribbles of the crumbs of the details. So basically, it was at what's it called? Hoddymut Hall, Wales Millennium Centre. BBC Sounds have recorded with Radio 2 a programme. Jo Wiley will be presenting, and of course she's a renowned Doctor Who fan. I think it's mooted around 20th of October. The programme will be broadcast 2 hours long. I think they've got 2 hours 30 footage, but basically it's going to be a 2-hour programme. Alistair Kinn's the conductor. Obviously, the dribbles we're getting out of it are about the Ruby Sunday theme, the 15th Doctor theme, and the new theme for the TV programme. And of course, what I'm hearing is it's very Murray Gold series 1 to 4 with a lot more sax. And I hear sax is a lot more in the 15th Doctor's theme as well. This takes me back to the heyday of Doctor Who, New Who, when we had concerts, we had the Albert Hall going on, we had different spin-off shows, merchandise was running wild, everybody fancied David Tennant, the world was on fire with Doctor Who. And now all of a sudden, we're getting nibbles of it back, and I think that this fires you up, although none of us could get there. We're going
That's the thing about this, Brendan, isn't it? Because it was ticket only. And, you know, part of me, thinks, ooh, this was interesting, because normally they would have done the big Albert Hall thing, put the tickets on sale. We would have all spent thousands of pounds to get into it probably, and we would have all gone down. But this one was ticket only through the BBC radio or BBC websites. It's more or less invite only. it suggests to me, guys, that they're still a little bit tentative here. They're aware that we're not all on board yet, and that there is a massive, still sadly, there is a massive division in Who fandom. Yes, I do think it's starting to wind down a bit, and let's touch wood. Hopefully that will continue and we'll all come back together. But do you know what I'm saying? It seems like, you can only come in if you're ticket invited, and it's limited numbers. It's just the testing the waters.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely wise. There's absolutely no point hiring the Albert Hall if two man and a goat turn up, to see something, after the legacy that Chibnall and his motley crew have left. So, baby steps, nursery slopes, call it what you will, absolutely test the waters. How is this going to go? I think that's a very, very wise decision. It's almost as if what they were doing in 2005 when the programme came back, just not assuming that we're all going to go with it, just see, will people take us back on board? And the good thing about that is it makes me think that they're focusing on the main show, on the characters, on the story, on how it looks. And that's what matters, because you can have all the bangs and whistles surrounding a programme, but unless it's a really good programme, no one's going to watch.
We've got some comments here coming from everybody. Thank you very much for joining us all. Say good morning to Jamie. And good morning to Woodhouse122. Lovely to see you. And Lex is here. Hello, Lex. Saying good morning to us all. Nice to see you. Time Lord 2023 has just put this up. Michael Gambon was a fantastic actor. Yes, he certainly was. And then he's also saying, I wish I could have gone to the concert, but looking forward to listening to it on the radio. And I think Brendan's got the date that's tentatively going to be put out thing. Jamie is also saying, me and my goat would have loved to have gone to the concert.
And Woodhouse, I'm happy to get on Jamie's goat.
And Woodhouse122. Hopefully Murray Gold's music won't be like the dirge-like music from the Chibnall era. Well, the Chibnall era was covered in this concert as well, wasn't it, Brendan?
Yeah, apparently each composer was kind of escorted onto stage by each of the producers. So basically, there was like you had an adopted sponsor. So each one went up on stage.
Oh, really?
That's where we got a kind of three doctors picture with Chibnall, Moffat, and RTD together, and it's like the three doctors are back together again. And RTD did make a few comments, and the comments that I'm getting are that he kind of did seem to hint that there was going to be, he feared a hiatus. He did fear the show was going to come off, and so he knew he had to come back. He also heard the rumours about streaming service, and he wanted somebody in charge of Doctor Who cared, and that's the key thing.
Who said this? Sorry, Brendan?
Sorry?
Who said this?
RTD.
Oh, right.
He's beautifully tactful, don't you?
Did he see this in front of Chibnall?
Well, I'm sure the words are slightly different, but the hint was there was a fear of hiatus, and with a streaming service coming in, you need to make sure it's somebody who knows Doctor Who. Do
you know, that's amazing, because we were talking about this 2 years ago, because that's exactly what I was hearing, that the show was coming off air, hence that ending in the regeneration sequence where Whittaker was supposed to go to black, as we say. It was supposed to go to fade, because the thing pulls out. The camera pulls out, the drone, whatever you want to call it, pulls out, and that was supposed to be a cut. And I was told about that very early on in that particular year to say it looks like the show's coming out. So it's interesting that RTD has come out at this event, more or less said and confirmed everything that a lot of YouTubers have been talking about over the last couple of years. It's unheard of in that sense, isn't it? It really, really is. We've got this picture you're talking about, Brendan. They're doing a Three Doctors style. Here it is. This is the picture here. This all comes from BBC Now on X. So thank you so much for them for actually treating the millions of us that didn't get into this thing. They're looking quite pally here. Do you know what this reminds me of, guys, as well? Of being a certain vintage of fan. This picture always reminds me of those that clique of fans in the late 80s and especially into the 90s who were known as the sort of elite, in inverted commas. You know what I mean? And here they are here. Look how far they've come. Look how far they've come. They've been controlling the show. Sorry, John.
It's not by me they weren't. I've never bought into all this fan. They're basically up their own fundaments. I don't give a monkeys. What I'm talking about within fan circles, people who think they're important. I can't be bothered with that. I just think Chibnall looks a bit gormless in that picture, which might explain a great deal about what he produced. But just based on what Brendan has just said, no matter how you phrase it, however RTD has couched his language, there's no getting away from it. Chibnall killed it. He was given the golden goose and he blew it. So I don't know how eventually, when the history of this time is written and people get to express their opinions, how they go avoid talking about that. And it's very nice of them to stand together, but it must have been awkward as well.
Well, let's hope that they do a trials and tribulations documentary, a bit like Trial of a Time Lord, and we get all the dirt from that when it comes out. It'd be lovely.
I hope we don't have to wait that long for it, Paul. I'll be well gone by that point.
I know. But maybe in a couple of years' time, when it's just to be.
In a couple of years' time.
Well, you know what I mean? It's just in order to be able to speak properly about it, they need a bit of time for it to dust to settle. You know what I mean? And it's quite hard.
Yes.
I think it might be easier if the next reiteration is a massive hit, as they want to be, not just here in the UK, the show's home, but globally, which we know they want it to be that as well. It might be easier for them because what they'll do is they'll get more confident again, like they were. I mean, they seem very, very confident at the moment. They seem a little bit, in my opinion, overtly confident because they're assuming a lot. I just thought it was very interesting when it came to this concert. I mean, we were talking about it on The Sound of Whoosic, and stuff like this, ticket only, step. I think it was a very wise thing to do. Yes. Brendan, it is going to be broadcast, though, on BBC Radio 2 and BBC Sounds, is it not?
Yes, yeah. And the date I seem to have is, because at first I wondered if it was going to be around the anniversary, but it is definitely October. I thought it was around the 20th of October it's going to be on.
Can I ask a question of you, Brendan?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, don't look so good. I'm not asking for money. Don't worry, you're all right.
This time.
Based on what you've heard, because that's new to me about the sax element of the theme tune. Have you heard any more about that? Because that sort of stuff excites me,
Yes, I've heard that it's people who've been there teasing us, isn't it? They say it sounds very Series 1 to 4 Mirror Gold with a lot of sax, and it also has a real element of the Doctor Who movie theme tune. Now, obviously, I think the production values and the budget have gone up, and in that makes sense. I think Murray Gold might, he can go big on sound. He can go big on. So that sound. I mean, if that's true, that sounds very pleasing to me because I personally love the Doctor Who movie theme tune.
Yes,
I know it's House Jamie who loves the piano bit and the brassy element of it, and Murray Gold. I mean, come on, his theme tune was lively, colourful. This is what RTD wanted. Colour, pizzazz. We've got to beat Hampton Deck on ITV, bang, let's go for it.
I'm probably in the minority here, but I actually quite liked the Sagan version for Whittaker. It's probably the only thing I did like, to be fair. But
Well, I didn't mind it either, Paul, because it was fairly traditional. However, it lacked impact. It didn't have the scream, to get you. So you had a cold open, and the cold opens are designed to sort of hook your audience.
Yeah.
And what it was crying out for was that Doctor Who scream to take you into the opening titles. And it lacked all that. So what it meant was it became a bit like Dominic Glynn's version of Trial of a Time Lord. You missed the first few beats almost. And I love Dominic Glynn's version of the theme tune. Absolutely love it. But one of the issues was that when you came out, you lost those first few beats. And I think the same thing happened with Sagan Akinola's version of the theme tune too. Brendan, I think you're spot on. It has to be big, bold, brassy, and draw you in absolutely straight away.
Well, obviously, we'll have to listen to what it sounds like. Personally, for me, the Doctor Who theme tune will always mean the BBC Radiophonic Workshop. I don't think anything should come out of that. As long as it's got those radiophonic and those innovative, gorgeous sounds, which are still not heard on television today in it, I'll welcome anything. But stay tuned. Please like and subscribe to the channel because we will be bringing part of our Sound of Whoosic show in to talk about the variations of the theme tune in the anniversary month itself. And by then, we will also know what this new one sounds like because it will be broadcast on this show. So we'll be able to bring that into the show and we'll be able to discuss our opinion and your opinion about the new reissue.
We can mime it. That's what we're going to do.
I'm just fascinated that they're releasing this a month before we get to hear it on television. That's quite interesting, isn't it?
It is really, yeah. I think it's part of that build-up, isn't it, Paul?
Yeah.
It might depend though whether they broadcast all of the concert in the radio program. If they edit it out, they might take it out and save it for broadcast.
Okay.
Because obviously they want to try, like they did. But they did that with the Chibnall version. They didn't have the music until episode 2. It was weird. There was no titles in the first episode.
Oh yeah, that's because he came out saying he wanted to start it differently, didn't he? Which is all well and good. You've got to try different things all the time. But with Doctor Who, I think you should have the theme. I mean, it's an iconic theme. It's 60 years old. Don't mess with it too much.
That was a turkey of an idea. Silly idea.
Yeah.
But
I
so I feel like
think he wants to just explode onto the schedules, to be honest. I don't think he's going to go subtle.
Yeah. No, I don't think so either.
Because I actually think as well, I have a little theory that I don't think you'll see the TARDIS interior until Shooty arrives. I think that's going to happen. I think they're going to keep that very big secret. I think.
Paul, write that idea down, because we're going to be coming back to that. Because yes, we're going to be talking about that trailer very soon on this very show. To stay with us, because we want your opinions about that trailer because it's coming up soon. Got some lovely feedback here as well. Time Lord 2023, thank you for joining us. Doctor Who is going to be big, and I can't wait for the episodes to start. I love hearing about that. I love how people are looking forward to it. I hope it is. Let's hope it is. And we'll all be talking about that. But yeah, let's hope that. John's now just been joined by Elsie. Good morning.
Morning, Elsie.
Nice to make an appearance.
Woodhouse 122 is actually saying to us the concert will be broadcast on the 15th of October at 8 p.m. So 2 weeks to go. That's great. So we'll all be tuning in.
And that's got me genuinely excited. It really has. You feel now that it's building, it's getting close.
Yeah, it really is. And as I say, stay with us here. We will be reviewing that show. We will be reviewing the concert as part of Who's Views. I'm going to have to find somewhere that I can listen to a radio within the parameters of the law. And we've also got, I don't have a license fee. Alexander, Alexi here. I wonder if Jinx will be singing the new theme. What a thought. Can you imagine? What sort of lyrics would you put as a competition? What sort of lyrics would you put to the Doctor Who theme? You know?
Oh, you don't want an EastEnders every loser wins job.
Well, it reminds me of John a bit, because John did it, didn't he?
You want John Pertwee singing it. That's what you want.
Yes. We're going to do that one here. I want to say good morning to Garbage, who's managed to join us. Good morning, Garbage. Great to see you. He's working this morning, so he's probably watching us from work, but it is fantastic to see you. We've just been talking about the Doctor Who 60th anniversary concert that was taking place at, was it Hoddinott, Brendan? Hoddinott Hall?
Hoddinott Hall, yeah.
Hoddinott Hall at the Wales Millennium Centre, which was on Thursday night. They actually did that. And as Brendan says, it was a 2.5 hour concert. Who knows how much of that will get onto the radio? Because as Paul was saying, they do tend to slice these things. Yeah. But they will. I'm sure they'll keep the new theme. I'm sure, Brendan, they'll keep the 15th Doctor's theme. Here's more themes, and I'm sure they'll keep. I quite like the title of Ruby Sunday's theme, "The Life of Sunday."
Yeah.
I like that. It's quite sweet.
I remember in one of the concerts when we seemed to be spoke with concerts, they showed you the Runaway Bride soundtrack.
That's right. Yeah.
So I think they're going to just display it all, get word of mouth, get excitement. I think they're going to go for it.
One thing that they've also done here that we haven't mentioned yet is they have recorded it for the iPlayer. Now that the cynic in me, or the business person in me, whichever way you want to look at it, suggests to me that means that they could possibly also be looking at a DVD Blu-ray release or an extras release on the forthcoming box. I don't mind that either. I love watching these concerts. Really, really do. I think it's fantastic.
I think that's sensible. Very sensible, yeah.
Was it true that Sylvester McCoy and Sophie Aldred were there?
Yes. Well, that's what I've heard.
How lovely.
I don't see any photographs of Sylvester or Sophie.
No. I hope they were, because I'm sure they had a lovely time.
Well, they got a Willy Wonka ticket, so good for them.
Yeah, they would have got the VIP pass, wouldn't they? Golden.
Mm-hmm. Brenda, can I ask, how many people were allowed to be there? What was the capacity of the crowd?
It wasn't much, was it?
Including technicians and the cleaner, I think it was 180.
I don't think it was that many. I can't remember.
Do you remember when Morecambe and Wise did one of those sketches and the cleaner was watching Elton John sing? And I just realized, I get the sense that it's like that.
It was brilliant. Yeah.
I bet it was, yeah.
Garbage is saying the theme with words for Doctor Who, easy. We've already had one in the 80s, Doctor in the TARDIS by the KLF. Still a classic in my book. Really, really is. And Time Lord 2023 is the excitement from you is brilliant. To me, Russell has saved Doctor Who and brought back the excitement to show. Please join us when we start reviewing the new Russell TD era in November. Time Lord 2023. We want your opinion on that. Let's just hope that, yes, you are right. I really, really hope you are right, because there's a lot at stake here right now. I'm sure I'm not the only one that's thinking that as well. Right, so that was the concert. Something else that happened this week, earlier on in the week, before the concert, was Stephen Moffat's appearance on BBC Newsnight. Any of you aware of this particular one?
No,
I missed that.
Well, here we go, because I've got all the stuff here for you. He appeared on the BBC Newsnight being interviewed by Kirsty Walk. And what she tried to do, she tried in a sense to set him up. because what happened is she started to address the fact, would he go back to Doctor Who as the showrunner? Is he involved with Doctor Who? And Mr. Moffat, as we all know, was not going to have any of this at all. And it was just so brilliant with his answers, because he was there to talk about other things. And of course, Doctor Who's going to creep up as it will do right now as well. The former Doctor Who showrunner mysteriously addressed his return to the series on Newsnight. Now, this is all from the Radio Times, so I don't think he was mysterious. I think he actually nailed it completely by saying no. Newsnight presenter Kirsty Walk wasted no time in questioning Moffat about the series, asking him if he'd ever go back in some shape or form to Doctor Who. What? I'll wake up tomorrow in Cardiff, Moffat quizzed, before laughing and stating, I can't believe I'm being asked about that on Newsnight. Extremely good point, Mr. Moffat. He continued, it's really very recent that I quit Doctor Who. Look, I absolutely adore Doctor Who. It's the most wonderful show, but it's in very safe hands with Russell T. Davies. Walk rephrased the question, instead asking whether Moffat feels the pull of the series, to which he answered, oh yeah, well, I always stay in touch with Russell and ask him what he's up to and so on. Of course I do. We know that because he did that originally back in 2003 and 4 as well, didn't he? It doesn't mean I'm dashing off to Cardiff on the train tomorrow. And then he adds in typical Moffat way, unless I am. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, the guy is very funny, but I'm with him. He's sitting on Newsnight, and that comes up, and it was slightly shocked. You know, brilliant.
The question was, why was you on Newsnight in the first place?
I can't remember because I wasn't watching it. I only saw the Doctor Who bit. I can't watch the BBC, as you know.
Right, of course.
I think he's talking about the industry zone.
Okay, if he does come back as a writer, would be good, because I think when he was showrunner with all his other projects, there was too much going on for him to focus on the series. So he was much better when he was just a writer in the series rather than a showrunner. I think it was too much for him.
And I like the idea. I mean, less of the Chibnall bit, but I like the idea of RTD and Stephen Moffat, who've now been showrunners each, actually talking to each other, being sounding off boards to each other. It's a bit like Philip Hinchcliffe and Robert Holmes. It's a bit like Barry Letts and Terence Dix. I think it must be lonely just to be a producer, executive producer, showrunner of a show like this where imagination has to run riot. And I like the idea that Stephen Moffat, even if he's not coming back, I mean, I hope he does with some episodes and that, but is talking to RTD and RTD trusts him, and, you know, they work off each other a bit.
Well, they go back years, don't they? So...
Sorry, JT, don't you go?
I was going to say they go back years and they are friends, but this was always happening in 2003, 2004. You know, I remember Moffat saying he was always talking to Russell and Russell was talking to him. And at that point, when the handover happened, Russell, of course, went on record saying, I'm more or less stopping talking to Stephen because I don't want to know what's going to happen. Yeah. I thought it was always wonderful about their relationship.
I think there's a comparison we can make is more like Alcoholics Anonymous. You know, I mean, the two of them have both been through the mill, having run this huge beast. So they know exactly what they've both been through and can therefore be there for each other. Only one another will understand what it is to keep this beast afloat. They probably won't want to talk to Chibnall because he didn't, you know, he sunk the thing. But I can absolutely understand why they want to keep in touch. But isn't it typical of Doctor Who fans? We've not yet started this era, and we're talking about perhaps the advent of the next one.
Oh, it's terrible. But also the media, John. The media too.
Absolutely. That's all. A big Doctor Who is about change. We've always said that. But yes, I agree with Paul entirely. I think an episode from Moffat, when he's got all the time in the world to think about it, is going to be a real attraction of this new era. So I look forward to that if it happens.
Yeah, I think we just have to wait and see, won't we? Time Lord 2023 was saying there that he thinks he's involved, but just to write an episode. Jamie's come back saying here, hi, my name's Jamie. I'm a Doctor Who fan. There, I've said it. I mean, it's a very difficult thing to say these days. Yeah. Back to where we were many, many years ago, of course, we were looked on and spat on. But, you know, it's a real case of if he does come back, taking what you were saying there, Paul, yeah, a lot of fans have said it was better when he was just writing his scripts for someone else, and then he got far too busy and maybe it was too much for him in his own. I sort of get that as well, but if he comes back, I don't blame him if he doesn't, to be quite honest. He wrote so much of that show over those years. He did it for years, and he must be shattered with it. And I think it's brilliant that he's still going along to the fan things or the whatever, the celebration concerts and all this sort of stuff, appearing on Newsnight, where you know that inevitably everybody's now going to know you. It's going to be on your headstone, for heaven's sake, isn't it? Everybody's going to know you for that one job you've done out of all these other jobs. So I do feel for him for a way there. So, I mean, it's good of him to actually just say, well, and have a bit of a joke with it as well. But he must sometimes want to turn around and go, shut up. I don't want to talk about that right now.
Else, yeah.
All this is interesting as well. Time Lord 2023 is saying Russell and Stephen Moffat are the only people I trust with Doctor Who. I can understand that. But, I bet if he ever does come back, it'll be a rollicking episode.
Yeah.
So good for him. But I thought that was interesting. Are you saying, sorry, we're going to say something there, Brendan?
No, I was just in full agreement. I love seeing those two Doctor Who war veterans together. It always looks tasty.
War veterans. I think that's all of us. I think the fans are the war veterans because we've been through so much crap.
There's a lovely video of Stephen Moffat and Russell T Davies at the Target event when they were promoting their Rose and Day of the Doctor, and the banter between them was fantastic. If you get a chance to see it on YouTube, have a little look. It's a lot of fun.
There you go. Right, so that was that. I thought that was quite an interesting thing because it just shows, again, it shows that little wicked element that Moffat has with his sense of humour. I always love that little twinkle he's got there, that playful thing that he's going on. Right, so Paul, casting. We had some casting news but this won't be a surprise to anybody.
You mean John?
Oh, sorry, yeah, John. Sorry, yeah, go ahead, mate. Sorry.
You're all right. Don't worry. I just don't want to steal Paul's thunder.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. No, help yourself.
Yeah. Now, we've had a lot of casting news recently, and it's sort of added to my feeling that perhaps I'm getting past 30 or whatever, because most of the people who have been cast, I have no idea who they are. And that's fine, back doesn't need to work, but I'm being told that I should, most of the time by this is a wonderful person, it's iconic, and all the stuff all the hyperbole that surrounds it. However, we now have a piece of casting, and I do know somebody from the annals of British film and TV, Miriam Margolyes. So those of you who have an aversion to people who break wind regularly, beware, because the veteran farter that is Miriam Margolyes is returning to Doctor Who in a voice-only role, as far as we know at the minute. She's going to be voicing the character Beep, the Meep, in the specials for Doctor Who coming up in November. Now, this is a legacy character from Doctor Who's comic strip days, back in the weekly days. And I think, having read those strips way back when, it's been a long, long time now, I can see exactly why they've chosen Miriam, because not only is she an expert voice artist, she could properly fill this character too. So it's funny because after years of wanting Miriam to be in Doctor Who, I'm glad she is. I would like to have seen her though. Hopefully this doesn't mean she can't come back in a part, because for those of us a certain generation, we will remember that way back in the day when Tom Baker lost Elizabeth Sladen, you know what's coming, don't you? Way back in the day when Tom Baker lost Elizabeth Sladen and wanted to be out on his own as a companion, he had a couple of suggestions when they said, you have to have a companion. Apart from the talking cabbage on top of his shoulder, he also thought, and I actually thought this is quite a good idea, he thought the Doctor should have a more, instead of a leggy lovely, the Doctor should have a more, for want of a better phrase, a more corpulent companion.
Absolutely,
that it should be older and perhaps of a fuller figure. And who would go, and this is Tom's words, wheezing and panting behind him as they were chased by whatever the monster of the week was. And his pick for that was, funnily enough, Miriam Margolyes. Now, I'm sure Miriam still loves Tom despite his description of what her character has been. But I think that was an opportunity lost. I think that would be worth a try for Doctor Who back in the day and just see what we've done with it. It's probably something that RTD may well try in future, as a one-off, who knows. However, it's just great to see Miriam in, and again, it gives me real hope for this version, this iteration of Doctor Who, because that's a casting choice where I go, click, that works. Well done, guys. And it gives me great hope for this episode. Just hope the farting is kept under control. She may come back, and this is Slovene, who knows?
I don't know. It's interesting that
instead of Jane, was she not? Yeah.
I was going to say, I can understand why they cast her. This news, I think, there's been a long rumour about this. I'm glad it's been confirmed. But you're right, she's a great voice artist, John. And I remember the caramel chocolate bar, the bunny.
Yes, the
version,
bunny.
that was her voice. And you can see based on
Is
that
that
why
what
they chose
you
her.
want, Rabbit?
Great. I don't want to say any spoilers about the story, but we know what Beep the Meep's like, and being really sweet in the trailer, and then you end up having perhaps Beep the Meep being a bit more aggressive. That'll be interesting when the character turns. That'll be interesting.
Well, that's similar to Ms. Margoyles in herself. I mean, for people outside the UK, we have to explain that Miriam Margoyles has been around for many, many years. She is obviously as an actress. She's another one that has appeared in the Harry Potter franchise as well. But she is what we would call over here a Marmite character. She is very, very outspoken. She is unashamedly outspoken. And it depends, what day it is with Miriam. She's very, in my opinion as well, she tends to contradict herself on many occasions, on many subjects. So I can't keep up with her. I've never been able to keep up with her. She went on an anti-LGBT tirade years ago, which upset an awful lot of us. Then she corrected that and she came out as gay herself, and then she's done all that. So she's a very, very eccentric character. I do agree with the fact that somebody like Miriam is long overdue as a Doctor Who companion. I know Big Finish tried it and was hugely successful with that, but that's all on audio as well. So it could work on time. I'm really in for that idea.
Look at this is the confidence of the new production team, because if you think of in 2005, Zoe Wanamaker was really just a voice. I mean, later on we played with her New Earth, but she was just a voice artist. I mean, she's a capable actress, and just for End of the World, she was just there, voicing this lady Cassandra, and that was confident casting, because to convince an actress of their status. Now, Miriam Margolyes, she is extremely capable. I mean, the Dickensian context. We talked about Simon Callow in Unquiet Dead recently.
And do comedy as well. Her role in Ladies in Lavender always cracks me up. It's not overtly comical, but she plays it beautifully. But it is funny.
She was fantastic with the Spanish Infanta and Blackadder as well. Fantastic.
Yeah. And so I think it's very confident casting, because to try and convince an actress to say you're going to play you're not even going to be seen. We were saying that to Nabil Shaban the other day. So I think it's up there with Zoe Wanamaker, Simon Callow, and all the rest of it.
Oh, definitely. I mean, she's a very competent voice actor as well. You mentioned the infamous Bunny Rabbit caramel adverts, which were very sexy for the day as well, weren't they? She was told to do it. Did it here. Time Lord 23 was saying there, Beep the Meep will act nice to Rose, Donna's daughter, then I think it will turn against us. Now, Time Lord 23, that suggests to me that you aren't aware of Meep the Beep. Please let me know if I'm wrong. You're not aware of the history. But don't worry about it, because as John mentioned there, this is a legacy character. Beep the Meep was first seen in the Doctor Who weekly comic strip, which in its various incarnations is still going today. It's interesting, though, in the original comic strip, he was male, and now they've changed it to a female, because I think they've done that specifically because Miriam can nail this. Yeah. And I think it's going to bring that extra character element to this character. But Beep the Meep is beloved by a certain generation of fans simply because of this comic strip. Now, the comic strip was strangely called The Star Beast, which, of course, the episode is also called. And just to let you know that if you want to know more about it, we will be doing this. Whose Views Reviews will be looking at this classic Doctor Who weekly comic strip in the next few weeks. So if you want to join us for that one, please do, because we will be reviewing that comic strip, the character of Meep, the character of Sharon, everything about this. We'll be sharing our memories. So please join us for this live in the next couple of weeks. Like and subscribe to the channel so you get notifications of when we're going to be doing this particular show. But it is really important because it's going to be on the telly. I think that's just incredible. And it just shows it's another element of how Doctor Who weekly, monthly magazine has had an influence on a certain generation now, isn't it? So here's the Star. I mean, who'd have thought? And it is one of the most classic Doctor Who comic strips of all time.
It's just a great story, so you can understand why. And I don't know what they'll do with it. They may well change a huge amount of it. I don't think the fundamentals will change, but it's a good story, so you can absolutely. And I think it's Russell T drew on Doctor Who novels for some of the stories in his original one,
and audios.
Yeah, and now he's pulling on the comic strips, and why not? Because there's a wealth of brilliant storytelling. I'm a great comic strip lover, but I was back then, and there's a wealth of great storytelling there that he can draw on. Because why shouldn't that be available to the massive viewers who haven't read Doctor Who Weekly 40 years ago? You know?
I think something like, I mean, I always thought when I was a kid, and we'll come to this when we're talking about the Star Beast in the review. I always thought when I was a kid, this would be great on telly because, of course, in the comic strips, it was always Doctor Who with that extra oomph because we were restricted by television.
More budgets,
Yeah, I always thought it would have been a brilliant movie, but we might just be getting that because we have to remember that the 60th anniversary specials are 3 hours. They are 1 hour episodes for broadcast, but when you look at them all together, it's a continuation. It's a 3 hour movie. I'm really excited to see Meet the Beep. And I think when you look at this, there he was in the comic strip, and now here she is in the TV show. They've been so faithful to the adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
And good luck for that. I know Miriam must be very proud of having done this work. She does have a new book that's out as well, where she talks about this a little bit. But we're looking forward to seeing you in this. And I can't wait to review it.
It's a great visualization of Beat the Meeple. That's fantastic, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's just, I mean, look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, look at it.
I can't wait to see the interplay between Catherine Tate's Donna Noble and Miriam Margolyes as Beat the Meeple. That's going to be fabulous, I'm sure.
It's all to come. It's all to come. We cannot wait for it. Thank you very much for joining us this morning on Sunday Breakfast Live. We've just been talking about the casting of Miriam Margolyes as Meet the Beep in the forthcoming Doctor Who specials. It's not long to go now, actually. It's the 1st of October today. It's currently... Well, it's just gone 25 to 11. You're joining us here on The Breakfast Show. Thank you very much. Thank you for all your comments as well. Keep them coming. Jack has just joined us. Let's have a look. Jack's saying, I was looking forward to seeing Beep. Not a great deal else. I'm excited about the 60th. However, I've grown annoyed by Margolyes in recent years, and I fear I'll just find her voice irritating. That is one of the things I'm trying to say. She is a Marmite character, isn't she, Jack? And you're either like her. I think what we have to do, Jack, is we have to try and just forget who that is and concentrate on the Meep. Because if you are aware of the original Star Beast, you know what's going to happen.
It's just her voice, and she's a great voice artist. So let's be excited.
Yeah, let's see what happens with it. But yeah, please join us as we start our reviews of all this that's coming up at the end of October, November.
Like and subscribe, please.
Do you know what, Who viewers? Brendan is quite right to do that because he's just given me a hint. Can you do that again?
Like and subscribe.
I do all these graphics and I forget to use them.
You know,
Brendan.
Jack's replying to you here, John and Pups. He's basically saying he's going to try. He's going to really try. Yeah, I know you. I know you will. I know you will, mate. And Lex is saying somebody a lot of people have forgotten and wasn't even in the trailer, which we are coming to. The only person looking forward to seeing is Wilf. Bernard Cribben's last television. We mustn't forget that. This is going to be huge and historical for that element alone. A British legend's last TV moments. It's going to be very emotional on that one as well. So I couldn't believe he wasn't in the trailer. I wonder if that was because they're waiting for the next one.
I think they're saving him, but there's a little, you can see his cap in one piece. But look, I think, as I said ages ago, that we've had all the superficial casting. We're now getting the big casting, and I think they're saving Bernard. We know he's in, but a lot of the public won't. And this is going to be surely a tribute to him. They're going to tribute the episodes to him. Surely.
I would hope so. Yeah, I would hope there'll be also a lovely feature and a tribute in the Radio Times, the TV Times, and all that sort of stuff, because it is historically important. It's his last performance, and it's filmed. We're still lucky to have that, aren't we?
I'm sure the episode itself will be dedicated to Bernard. It must.
I hope so. I'm sure it will. I think you're absolutely right there, John. I mean, we all loved him. The production crew all loved him. I'm sure they absolutely will. Oh well, so that's coming up. Thank you for that one as well, John, for the casting of Miriam Margolyes there. It is the 1st of October. We have lots planned for you this month, but it has also been a very, very busy September for us here on Who's Views. We even got out and about. Yes, we visited Allendale, where Brendan took his Time Meddler book, because he's the Time Muddler. I'll get that right. There we go. And that formed part of this. This is some of the shows that we presented for you. So we went to Allendale to see Neil Cole at his Museum of Classic Sci-Fi. That's available right now on the channel. We also had reviews of The Unquiet Dead, which was chosen by you, our Who viewers. You chose that one, so we watched that one and we reviewed it for you. We've also had Merchandise Paradise with Keith Barnfather, Alistair McGowan, Will Brooks, all coming to see us in September, talking about their various products that are all available. We started our companion piece shows, and we looked at Sarah Jane Smith. Thank you for the feedback on that as well. We'll do a few more next year for you with different companions. And if you want to nominate a companion, let me know. We've also had a couple of shows. We started it was supposed to be a one-off, but we've started The Sound of Whoosic. We suddenly discovered there's a hell of a lot to talk about when it comes to over 60 years, nearly, of Doctor Who soundtracks. And we also celebrated the 50th anniversary of the Target novels in the Golden Shots. At this point, I also want to say a huge thank you to our special guests that came through this month. We had Paul Tams, who joined us for the Golden Shots. We had composer Dominic Glynn, who joined us for The Sound of Whoosic. And just recently on Thursday for our review of Vengeance on Varos, we had Nabil Shaban, Sil himself. All available for you right now on the channel. I also want to say a huge thank you to TARDIS Spider. TARDIS Spider joined us for a chit chat. Yes, he did. And it was lovely to see him. And he gave us some details of how he became a Doctor Who fan and his cosplaying and his love for John Pertwee. It's a lovely video. A few weeks ago as well, he was on here. He came to join us to tell us all about what was going on in his area in the USA. And he mentioned that he was going to a particular convention. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're absolutely delighted and very lucky because he sent us this report. Have a look at this.
Good morning, Who's Views. This is TARDIS Spider. We have ventured to downtown Mobile, Alabama to see if there is any Doctor Who influence at MobaCon. And we have with us Oswin Oswald from Doctor Who.
Director, Starship Alaska.
So, have you done much Doctor Who cosplay?
Mainly just Clara.
Cool.
I do want to get other versions of Clara done.
Are you excited for the 60th anniversary?
So excited.
So, are you already subscribed to Disney Plus?
Yes.
Do you have much call for anything Doctor Who?
No, I think this is probably the first one of these I've called.
Okay, that's all right. Oh, I found another Doctor Who fan.
Absolutely.
How long have you been a Doctor Who fan?
Probably since I was about 7 or 8 years old.
So just a few years ago.
Just a few years.
Okay. And your favorite Doctor?
I would have to say probably the 3rd or even the 4th.
I'm guessing.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
With the appropriate sonic screwdriver.
Of course. I have, I think, the 10th Doctor's screwdriver at home.
I do too.
Yes.
The remote control? So do I. So are you excited for the 60th?
I am, yes.
Are you subscribed to Disney already?
I think so. I have to double check, but I think so.
What do you think of Shooty Gatwa?
I don't really have an opinion yet so far.
Well, that was my visit to MobaCon. I did purchase the only bit of Doctor Who memorabilia available, and I met those two ladies. They both recognized me as Doctor Who. But other than that, there was no Doctor Who presence at MobaCon. On the YouTube front, a Doctor Who YouTuber in a neighboring state was just monetized last week. So it looks like the growth in the YouTube part of Doctor Who is still happening here. And that's all the news I have from the United States this month.
Hello, everyone. Love you.
Thanks very much for TARDIS Spider for sending that report from MobaCon. It's interesting, isn't it, guys? It's there was nothing there for him to buy.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, thanks to Terry. I mean, it's, look, this is one of the things we were saying at the beginning, weren't we, JT, about getting viewers from other sides of the world, Australia, America, wherever, please. Please give us a bit of video and show us what's going on in fandom. But thanks, Terry, for that. But I mean, it gets me excited because you see Americans talking about Doctor Who. I know he was saying there weren't many there, and I know he's saying merchandise is limited at the moment, and I know we've had that lull. I'm just hoping, as he kept asking, are you excited for the 60th? And as we all are hoping, it's just nice to hear America, Australia, Canada, and various other places saying, come on, we're willing it on. So thanks for that, Terry, because I think we just need to get that infection back.
I think it's important to remember that we have now reached the bottom. The only way is that way. So,
As Yaz once said, the only way is up.
You've just tweeted both of us, for goodness sake. Stop it.
I still love that song.
Oh, I was listening to it last night. It was played on Strictly Come Dancing last night, actually.
No, was it?
It was, yeah, they danced to it. No,
Was it Angela? Was it Angela or Amanda that was going for it? Was it?
Yeah, but no, I can't remember who it was, but it was played. Anyway, but the point is, the only way is that we have plumbed the depths in the last few years. It's sad to see the dearth of Doctor Who support at an American con, but as always with Doctor Who, it might be small in number, but the enthusiasm amongst those fans there was absolutely great to see. I'm sure from small acorns, we will grow mighty oaks.
It's just like building it back up again in 2004, 2005, isn't it? And hopefully they've got the content. It's all about content. It'll all be about the story. Hopefully that is right so that we can bring them back. I do want to say thank you again to TARDIS Spider for that and also for joining me on Chit Chat. Listen, Chit Chat is all about me meeting with fans. If you are interested in having a little chit chat with me, then email me. The email is whosviews1@gmail.com. And let's sort something out. You'd be very welcome to come on because the chit chats have been fairly successful. People seem to like them. It's all recorded, so I can record around you, wherever you are in the world. Please let me know. It would be great to see you. And it would be very welcome.
It's like a lovely joining up as well. I mean, good on you, TARDIS Spider, for being a satellite in that part of America. We need our satellites to kind of make it grow again and germinate everywhere. Very resilient. Good for you, TARDIS Spider.
Yeah, we've got Michael over in Australia. We've hopefully got people from Canada coming through. Wherever you are, get in touch with me, whoviews1@gmail.com.
And just to remind people that my chit chat in Speedos, we'll be holding that back for a Christmas treat.
I was thinking of Valentine's Day for that particular one.
Oh, I was going to do that one.
Yeah, I thought you said my chit chat was on Halloween.
You said it, not me. Good morning. It's Sunday, the 1st of October. It's 2023. You are watching Whose Views. This is Sunday Breakfast Live and the headlines that made the WHONIVERSE in September. Right, so we are now off to September's a busy month. Really, when you think about it, because the BBC started to talk about the up and coming shows. Now, there has been a drought of information coming up for quite some time, and fans have, being fans, been, complaining nicely, I think, about it as well. And I get it. I understand it. Yes, I think a lot more could have been done this year, but it was always going to start around about now because the 60th anniversary episodes, as we know, are only a month away as of broadcast. And what crept up, the first thing that crept up via their social media platforms was Who Spy. Now, have you guys seen this?
No.
I've seen a couple of pictures, yeah.
Okay, brilliant. So what we've got here is, excuse me, let me just get all this up for you. They started putting out teasers. Now, this was the first one. So this is obviously a behind-the-scenes shot where there's David Tennant there on the right-hand side. And there's the clapperboard there ready to go. And then what they've done is they've started just dropping these occasionally. So we'll have a chat about this. Now, I think that's quite a nice one, actually. It looks in the moment. It's captured that element of filming these specials very nicely, I think. This one's really quite nice as well. I don't know what you guys think about this, but this seems to be mysterious.
That's lovely, yeah.
Very lovely. I like that very much. I'd like that on a print and framed. Yeah.
Well, I've tried to zoom in, and with it being this format that we're using, we can't really, but these posters seem to be relevant as well because it mentions things like Henrik's, the store where Rose worked, and all this element. Now, of course, that sets some elements of a fandom off saying, oh my God, could these people be returning? I think it's just an in-house continuity.
It's RTD's universe, isn't it? It's RTD's universe is returning. Yeah.
Yes, that's what it looks like. Now, for those of you who have actually seen the Star Beast comic strip that we were talking about and are going to be talking about in the future, I really like this left-hand picture that's coming up on your screen because it captured the comic strip for me completely. Look at that. This has to be the shed where the Meep is found in this version. Now, the Meep is found behind the bins in the comic strip, but in this version, we know it's in the shed. And I love that shed. It's even an off TARDIS blue. So if it's Donna's shed, it sort of suggests there might be something in her head still, you know?
It's very Paddington as well, isn't it? Yeah, that's
it is. And then we've got something interesting from the unit base there. Now, Brendan on a few shows a while ago, it was the one where we talked about Bonnie Langford coming back, mentioned the heliport. Now, there it is there. Can you see that? This helipad thing at the top of the building, which is in the trailer, which we are coming to in a minute. Give us all your thoughts. Then there were these two. Crikey. Look at that. No, I know that's probably going to be something very cheap on the left-hand side. It's probably going to be paper or something, cardboard, but isn't it gorgeous?
Yeah. And we all recognise that face, don't we?
It's Joey, isn't it?
It is, yes.
That's Joey from the Celestial Toymaker, who we now know is coming back. Oh, Alex is saying here, look, the second photo looks like an entrance to the Edinburgh Vaults. It does actually, doesn't it?
Could be.
It does, yeah. Strange that, because we were in Edinburgh recently, weren't we, guys?
We were.
Drinking it dry, no doubt.
Yes. Paul Murray.
No, that was you. Anyway, then we've got this. Now, this comes back to your point, Paul, about not being able to see the new interior of the TARDIS till Ncuti. I'm not so sure, because in this picture, the TARDIS is obviously reconfiguring its architectural configuration, he says, rather than saying the word regeneration, because that's the proper term, everybody.
It is.
The TARDIS architectural reconfiguration. But it looks like it's actually going on there.
Well, I think it is going on there, but I think again, Russell's teasing us, because that happened before the TARDIS changed, and I think they're going to tease it to the last possible moment before we see it. But that's just my take on it.
Yeah. See, I wonder about this too, in terms of my meanderings about the way things are going to pan out. You know, while the Tennant episodes and the 60th anniversary episodes are so important for re-establishing the show and getting people back on board, I just wonder, are they going to steal a lot of Ncuti's thunder? I mean, with theme tune, with titles, with interior of the TARDIS, they have to hold something back. You know, you're just wondering, you know, is Ncuti going to be, you know, like an added extra to what we've already seen? His era has to start and has to be definitively his era. You know, now, obviously we know we're not getting the Whittaker TARDIS because that's been dismantled. I wonder would they do a Pro-10 TARDIS? They could do something with CG, I dare say. I don't know, but I'm sure they'll have to hold something back for the advent of the 15th Doctor, just to make us all, you know, wonder what it's going to be like. That's important.
Yeah,
it really is important, because they've got to get the viewing public back from November to the 25th of December for Christmas Day, haven't they? Where Ncuti makes his first. We know he's in at least, was it 15 minutes of the final three-parter?
Yes,
we know he's in towards the end.
Yeah.
We know he's in that. We know he's in that. He's in the third episode.
Yeah.
But apart from that, we don't know anything.
Because interestingly, with New Who, the whole newly configured TARDIS comes along with the new Doctor. That's all sort of part of the shtick of New Who. So it would seem strange, apart maybe from Matt Smith and Capaldi, but they changed the interior slightly there. But nonetheless, that seems to be a thing. Yeah. So I just wonder what they'll do with that.
Being old school, I get being old school, I get quite frustrated with that, because of course we had TARDISes that went through all the Doctors at all, and having heard the rumor of how the new set, how much it's cost them, which is incredible. I'm hoping it's around for 30 years, because that's a lot of money they've spent, Paul.
If you like it. Yeah. If we like Teal, if we'll enjoy Teal, we hope so.
Yeah. What I was going to say was there's been there's a clip of Ncuti in the original trailer. I know we're coming to the new trailer in a minute, but there's a shot of Ncuti when he says, "What the hell going on here?" Yeah. And there's a background, and they said that background is fake. I reckon that could possibly be the TARDIS. That's why they're not showing it.
Is he wearing what he's wearing Tennant's clothes?
He's wearing Tennant's clothes. So unless his clothes regenerate like Tennant's did in his regeneration for the 14th, we'll see. They might do that. Who knows?
I think for the 60th, these 3 hours need to be action and adventure. And I think having characters run into a TARDIS and shut the door, then run back out the TARDIS is fine. Yes. And then when Ncuti joins in the last 15 minutes or so, and we go through whether the toy maker's been playing with regeneration or something, then we probably will start to see the TARDIS.
Donna knows Donna knows the TARDIS. She's been there, done that. We don't need the whole wonderment of the new TARDIS. That can come maybe Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah.
But from a reality point of view as well, we know that when they went to shoot these films, the Chibnall era TARDIS had been destroyed. It had been dismantled and binned, basically, and parts of it were now by fans. Yes.
Thank God
So
for that.
I mean, I totally agree, Brendan. What they're doing here with this, obviously, I mean, that is obviously energy inside the TARDIS here. It's going on. It's based on the regeneration energy. They get the money worth out of that effect. And good on them for doing that, because it suggests to the public you might have to come back to see what the inside of this box is now going to look like. I mean, we all know Joe Blogg's public, are not as bothered about what the inside of the TARDIS looks like for us. They just want it to be the TARDIS. You know, the general public love the TARDIS. I mean, it's now a national icon in its own sense. You know, it's been around for 60 years. It is the 60th anniversary of the TARDIS as well. So, I mean, I don't think it would be that relevant to the story. I know there's a lot of younger fans. I'm not being critical in any way here, but there are a lot of younger fans that want to see it immediately. But let's learn a little thing called patience here, kids, because imagine the anticipation of having a Christmas present when you see it on Christmas Day. Yeah. You know, if that's the way they're going to go, roll with it, I think.
Yeah.
The Jodie Whittaker one, it was actually the second episode, The Ghost Monument, when you actually did see the title. And I was happy with that. I mean, you know, you can play around with stuff like that. Tease us, please.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, having seen it, we wish they'd held it back forever. You know?
Yeah. Let's see what we've got here in the chat. Again, thank you very much, Hugh viewers, for joining us this morning. Jack always makes me laugh. The TARDIS is enjoying tearing out the former console. Lex is saying, it makes me wonder if this version of DT's Doctor will have his natural Scots accent. Well, according to that trailer, it didn't sound like it.
No.
And Time Lord 2023 here, after the trailer was released, Russell said that we haven't heard the last of the news of the anniversary. I'm sure we haven't. I'm sure he's going to build up a lot more. This thing, whether we like it or not as fans, they have planned to go from around about the end of September to the big day itself in November. And then they're going to build on the back of that to the Christmas one. And then they're going to build on the back of that to when the series comes back in March for Shooty's first series. I mean, this is actually, when you think of it from their point of view, from a production point of view, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And they've had to plan it meticulously, and they've got to think, right, we've got to do this, we've got to do this. And on top of that, they're celebrating a 60th anniversary. They've got the concert to do. They've had any other programs that might be coming up that we don't know about yet. So it's been a lot of work from that. They've also been filming. They've been filming Shooty's first series. They're now starting very, very soon to film his second series. So that's a back-to-back schedule. So I'm sure there's going to be, Time Lord 2023, loads of stuff coming through from now on. And I think we might actually be, to use my phrase, hooed out by the end of November. We might need those breaks.
And I do think that I think there has been unfair criticism of these little teasers that came before, because a movie, when you see a trailer, you'll see a 2-minute odd trailer, and that's that. And we've seen bits and bits, and then we've now seen this trailer, which we're coming to. But you can't over egg it, because we want surprises, we want tension. We don't want to half guess the plot that we're going to do in a minute, no doubt. You know, you want some reveals that are going to be surprises later. And I think as fans, I know we want more. But the usual punters out there, they'll warm up to Doctor Who, but there's a time frame. If you do it over long, people go, oh, whatever.
Yeah, you have to be careful, especially as Doctor Who now is still basically in the bargain basement, isn't it? It's had a very rough few years. The British public have deserted it in their droves. Fandom has also been mixed reviews on the last year. A lot of us have left it as well. We're not as keen on it now, but we are tentatively now coming back. And the British public will come back for Tennant and Tate. That I have no doubt about that. It's just that, yeah, you're right. They do have to have that element of being able to grab them in these 3 episodes, so that they come back at Christmas and then come back in March. Because from a public's point of view now, that's a big wait. You're going to have 3 episodes in November. Then you're going to wait till Christmas Day, which is always dodgy, but Doctor Who always seem to pull them in on Christmas Day. And then you've got to wait till March. Whew, a lot of work.
That's the whole purpose behind these 3 episodes. It is to get them back. So they are going to invest huge flashbang wallop into this. It has to win back to set the scene for our successful launch for Shooty at Christmas and beyond. So they will have invested everything to make these 3 episodes work. Apart from the fact it's an anniversary, it's a relaunch, and it has to be seen as such.
It has to be a relaunch,
As you said, JT, it's in the bargain basement. It's their job to press that button and get the lift going upwards, and I'm sure they will do that. Absolutely.
So, JT, I'm excited. The trailer, away, man.
I want to just, before we come to the trailer, I've got a couple more pictures from the Who Spy, and it was this one. Now, of course, we've had the confirmation now that, as we've spoken about this morning, Miriam Margolyes is playing the voice of Meet the Beat, but also it was confirmed what we all knew. The Celestial Toymaker is back. There he is on the left, played by Neil Patrick Harris. These two pictures I thought were very, very good. I have to say, the one of Meet the Beat reminds me of E.T.
Yes.
You know, where E.T.'s in the cupboard and he's hiding it's the same setup, isn't it? It's exactly the same setup. But no, here we are. I'm sure fandom is absolutely delighted and also very intrigued that the first time since 1966, the Celestial Toymaker is back. And if you want to know who he is, if you're not sure, then please go and look at our reviews, because we reviewed the Celestial Toymaker a few weeks ago. And there's the picture of the original incarnation played by the British legend that is Michael Gough, with our very own first Doctor, William Hartnell. And it's great to see him back, isn't it? I mean, Brendan, you look so much better.
Yes.
Hey,
Never looked so good.
But it's great that the Celestial Toymaker is coming back. I think they've dropped the word celestial because somebody told me there were American connotations.
Yeah, I was about to say, it just seems to be referred to as the Toymaker.
The Toymaker. Yeah. I've been told by a fan, and I can't remember who it was that told me, but thank you to whoever it was who told me, that it's probably because in America that's looked at something to do with the race. I have to point out, in Britain, it means the stars. Yes, it means the universe, and that's how we're brought up with it. So
I think it's the same. I think it's the same sort of orientation as talking about things being Oriental. You know, this sort of same notion.
It must be.
So, yeah.
I don't see the link at all. But that I don't know. Somebody tell me where the link between Celestial and Oriental is.
Yeah. It's where we're at these days. So
it really is. It really is.
Well done.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, on this show, we're going to be calling him the Celestial Toymaker because that was his name in 1966. Yes, we can also refer to him on the Toymaker, but we are British, and celestial to us means the skies, the universe, the galaxies, the stars. And quite right, I've got a celestial jigsaw over there. It's wonderful. It lights up at night. Try planning that. While I'm remembering as well, I just want to say a huge thank you to Richard Marson, also known as the Thing King. Thank you very much for all your support for the channel, and thank you for getting in touch. He does feed me some elements for this show as well, and he keeps sending me lovely pictures, which I'm hoping to use at some point throughout the various episodes we go through. So hi Richard, nice to see you. Thank you for being part of the channel. Really appreciate it. So yeah, what got me about this, and I got really excited about this point, is yes, we know the Toymaker is back, the Celestial Toymaker is back, but this image, which you can't really see because it's very dark, but he's doing this, he's playing puppets. The Doctor's on a string here, as the Celestial Toymaker always used to have that ability to do. And it seemed to me that this episode is also paying homage to the magazine comic strips, because it's really going big time. Because this was, do you know this picture, guys? Huge, big, massive Celestial Toymaker up there, looking down on what is effectively the Doctor and his friends controlling them on puppet strings. And it just reminds me of those times when the Toymaker turned up in the magazine and was larger than life and brash and scary and obsessed with the toys and able to do anything he wanted. And I think they're really going for it. I think it's another way that Russell's paying tribute to the hugely successful comic strip and all these characters. Because if you look at those sort of things, it just that reminded me of those. You know, the fact that they can do anything they want now with these characters. They can make them really bold now.
Yeah, I think they might. I have a theory they might do all three specials based on the comics, but it might just be the first one. But I got a theory there might be all three could be based on Doctor Who Weekly strips.
Wow. If that's the case, that's a lot of work for them, isn't it? Because they're going to have to get across people like me who will just go, "Oh, that bit wasn't right," and "Oh, that's the wrong colour there." But I'd love to see some of them. I really would. And if this one is solid, and they've done right on this one, which I'm hoping and praying that they actually have, I'd be up for that. But it could be quite interesting, couldn't it?
I heard another little rumor that possibly Frobisher might make an appearance.
Oh,
hang on a minute. Don't tell me that without me doing this. Now say it.
Okay, I had a little rumor. Scrub the first bit. I heard a little rumor that Frobisher, the penguin, the shape-changing penguin, might be in one of the specials. Possibly the middle one.
He's a Whifferdale. That's right. Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
Well,
So
Who'd
that means
voice-
that's
Ooh,
just a
who'd voice
rumor, so it
Frobisher?
might not be true. So
Who'd voice Frobisher? Because that's another fantastic part. Because Frobisher, if you don't know from the monthly comic strips, is a real character, and that'd be great for an actor to get into because he's everything, really, isn't he? You know, he's got this really. I loved Frobisher's humor. So if we ever see him in there, it'd be a shame he wouldn't be with Colin though. But it would be quite fun, you know, to see him in it. But I hope. Speculation. Let us know who views. Who do you think? Let's start now. Who do you think should voice Frobisher?
the one comic strip I'd love them to do is Iron Legion, but that's a massive budget, isn't it? So,
That's huge budget.
Yeah.
That was the first comic strip from Doctor Who Weekly, and that's
Yeah,
what
yeah,
captured
yeah.
all our imaginations because we all fell
Yeah.
in love with that one immediately, and it got us onto City of the Damned, and then so on and so on and so on.
Yeah.
There's a hell of a lot of legacy, but as I said, we are going to be looking at the original one. He says, plugging back to the channel, we're going to be looking at the Star Beast very shortly. So please join us for that. If you haven't read the comic strip, go and read it now. If you're new to Doctor Who, if you haven't read it, if you can, go and look at it up just now because we're going to be talking about that and paying tribute to that before it actually hits the TV screens. I never thought I'd be saying that about the Star Beast or anything like that. Jack's saying here, nostalgia is a powerful thing. Doctor Who has always been good at harking back. But is that all modern Doctor Who has? Classic era fans and new Who era fans are loving the callbacks, but the new stuff? I get what you're saying there as well. I mean, Doctor Who always has to move forward. I mean, as you know, Jack, I'm a huge fan of the Tom Baker era because it really didn't harken back that much and in big style to previous ones. You know, you got the odd little member berry, but it wasn't based around it. But who knows? This could be the new start now.
I just wonder, Jack, whether. I mean, let's be honest. RTD was on a minefield, wasn't he? He came back and he's trying to tidy up how it finished with Jodie Whittaker and all that stuff. And he's got to somehow do an anniversary special that the fans are demanding will be brilliant and then launch a new Doctor. The task is almost impossible. So I don't mind him plundering a celestial figure, a bit like the Black or White Guardian, somebody all-powerful and omnipresent, because it's a nice, quick, shortcut fix. Yeah. We've got to think, how the hell do you plot this? Because he's trying to tidy up a mess. And so I will give him a free pass here. The Toymaker's a good character. And let's be honest, Jack, the Toymaker was intended originally to regenerate the Doctor. And I don't think we should forget that when we're talking about these things.
Well, I think he's already done it in this one, don't you? I mean, I was going to bring that up, but we can get onto that. I think he's just done it. I think that's going to be part of the story because what we saw with the Whittaker into Tennant is a completely different regeneration. Yeah. And yes, we know the behind the scenes story of what that is, but it should be incorporated into the story. Well, it doesn't have to be. I mean, you can gloss it off because nobody cares. The public won't care. But I think that might be part of the Toymaker's twist. You know, he's got the Doctor now. This is obviously a long game because we haven't seen him for decades. It's quite exciting when you think about it. Time Lord 2023 is saying, do we know if the Beep the Meep is working with the Toymaker? No, we don't. And I quite like the fact we don't. I actually think that's a sideline. I think the Toymaker is the bigger picture. And it just happens that Meet the Beep and everything around it comes. I don't know. I mean, it would be nice if there was a sideline story where the Doctor suddenly realizes the bigger celestial force at work here. What's happening and why is Donna suddenly being put in a position where she shouldn't be?
I think that's
all these questions. I love talking to fans about this.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the point, that there's a sort of convergence of different things that can be set up in the toy. Remember, Puppeteer, he's moving things along. This is what it's all about. The great thing about the Toymaker, rather than being the White Guardian, the Master, Omega, whatever it is, the Toymaker opens up a huge realm of possibilities, you know, in terms of fantasy stuff. And I'm sure that's why Russell Davies has elected to bring him back too. And also that connection with regeneration, because I'm sure the fact that the Doctor regenerated and his clothes changed with him on this occasion will be built in to this being a Toymaker influenced incarnation, you know. So
absolutely.
You know, to get to Donna, whatever it is. I mean, if we're now talking about the trailer, we can talk about that part where he says that everything seems to coalesce around Donna Noble. You know, so there's obviously something bigger going on here.
Like it did in 2008, everything was based around Donna. Time of 2023 is also saying to us, I wonder if the Toymaker is bringing all the villains through that purple portal you see from the trailer. Well, who knows? And now we are onto that topic. We want to know your opinions of that trailer that was released last Saturday. It's over 1.7 million views, which are all fans going back to watch it all over again, all over again, and all over again. Not as many as I was expecting in a week, I must admit, but it's still fairly healthy, 1.7 million. This all was released on Saturday, last Saturday. We got the official trailer, and then soon after, we got a huge amount of images promoting the 60th anniversary special. So this one you would have seen. This has been all over the place on YouTube. We are going to be using it ourselves on this very channel in the November year, I can guarantee you, because it does the trick. It does the trick. It is there. It shows the two leads. This is what's going to be out on, I would imagine, the TV guides, the supplements, the photos, because that's what the public wants to see. That is an iconic image. That's going to become an iconic image for the 60th anniversary for the public. That's the one that's the one they want to see. So what we've got here is the trailer. And it's now time for us to have a look at that. Time Lord 2023 is also saying the toy maker could create illusions of the Doctor's greatest fears and try to break them down mentally. Yes. And Jack saying, laying on thick nostalgia to master lingering stench of Chibnall makes sense. I guess it's what they do next. It's what's key to the show's future and what worries me most. It absolutely is right. That is what we're doing. And we just have to take each day as it comes. From my point of view, I'm trying to live towards the excitement that I'm actually starting to feel over this trailer, which we're now going to talk about. And then I'll worry about it after that, because we will be reviewing it. And we want you guys to come and review the 3 episodes that are coming out in November with us. We will be live reviewing the episodes. We want you with us. We want to hear what you're saying. It's really important to us that we get your views in this as well. Bad or good, we don't care. We want your views. So keep an eye out. Please like and subscribe to the channel so you know what's going on in November. We have big plans for you in November. We are practically on air 24 hours a day from my point of view. It's quite worrying. So here we are with these wonderful pictures. I'm just going to go through them all, everybody, and then cut back to you all. I'm going to start with this one. Again, the confirmation that the toy maker is here, and there he is in his element, and it really looks like the whole Victoriana setup here of the toy shop, really quite spooky. He's a new face, new outfit, doesn't matter. I think Neil Patrick Harris, even in these shots, looks quite what do you guys think?
He's like the toy maker from when remember the toy maker character that played by Benny Hill in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Oh yes,
yeah, he's got that look. He's got the same dress sense as well. And of course, that had a sinister vibe to it, didn't it? Because the toy maker was trying to save the kids from the evil, child collector or whatever his character was. But yeah, he looks like it's that kind of Austrian-esque. Kind of look.
Wooden toys.
Yeah, Geppetto-esque.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly. And to be honest, I've seen discussion, and by God, they're saying that the tartan he's wearing is the same tartan that David Tennant's Doctor is wearing in this, and whether that means he's more mixed up with the regeneration than you think. Because
really,
if you look at the tartan close up on the waistcoat.
It's a bit dark on these pictures. I haven't really looked at it. I'll have to go back and look at the trailer again.
That would make sense. Yeah, that's smart. Well spotted.
That is, if fans have spotted that, that's a brilliant spot, because that could layer an extra.
I think
stalker element.
I think his fingers are all over the regeneration, and I think that it's kind of mixed with him, so to speak. I think it's going to be interesting, this, because we've all got I'm saying this as a B&M, character options, character.
There he goes. We know what you want. We know what you want.
When you had the Jodie Whittaker and the mix with the new David Tennant, I thought, oh wow, he's got another tartan, but that tartan is the same as that waistcoat.
It's not the only outfit he's wearing in it, though, because there is this shot where he's throwing what seems to be a load of rose petals up in the air. He's dressed as some sort of toy soldier.
Yeah, that reminds me of that movie that Kevin Spacey was in.
What was it, American Beauty?
Yes.
Yeah. Go on, Paul. Go on.
Do you think he's singing in this bit?
Oh. Stop being controversial. What I take from this is images like this actually make me feel this could be quite terrifying, because it looks so innocent. It looks so happy. It looks like he's actually enjoying something. Now, when somebody of the Celestial Toy Maker is enjoying something, I guarantee you that the rest of the universe won't be, because that's the sort of character he is, and it's just, it is. And in fact, he's not, is he really? Because look at this one. I hope. There we go. He's got a really big gun there, boys.
That's a big one.
Yeah, and he's loving every minute of it, isn't he? I mean, look at him. He's about to destroy what could be the heliport that he's on there, because we know he's up there. I mean, look at him there. Look at my gun's bigger than yours, unit.
This is what I think as kids. This is what we wished and prayed in our wildest dreams that Doctor Who could do. Because it's British, it's clever, it's creative. We mix things up. There's a referral to Second World War again with some of his costume there, but the size of the gun, it's almost big. It's bigger than the Millennium Falcon's gun, and it's just that. It's just. I think the imagination in all the writers in Doctor Who from the beginning, if only they had this budget, by God, we'd knock everybody for six. And it's starting to happen. This is so exciting. We're on the helipad here. He's aiming at the Doctor and Shirley and Donna and Kate. And he's having a wheeze, isn't he? He's on the top of this kind of strange Stark tower.
He's very powerful. Yeah. He just seems to be. I mean, we know he can play with the imagination as well, Who viewers as well. So he's putting all this stuff in. He's playing with his literally a toy box, going back to the original episodes here. So it'd be interesting to see how the character has moved on and what Russell's bringing to that element, because he does look extremely dangerous, and he looks like he's having the time of his life, which always worries me. In this big plan that he's obviously been planning for the Doctor for a long time.
But he's aiming at the Doctor and a lot of the team. And then there's a line in the trailer where the Doctor says, it's me you want, you get the impression that somebody key to the Doctor is going to be killed. And you just wonder if they're teasing us. I don't think it's that moment, of course, but you can see the Toymaker is going to absolutely torture the Doctor.
These two are excited.
Yeah, sorry, Brendan, you've just been upstaged by two dogs. I'm sorry about that.
I give up. What else can I do? I'll get my Triffid moving. That's what I'll do.
I think you're right, though. I mean, this is even in this trailer, and please let us know what you thought of the trailer, everybody that's watching. I mean, he does come across as some sort of psychotic, powerful villain here. This is another one that's is really, really, really enjoying seeing the Doctor in some sort of distress. I'm sure that's going to be on very many levels. I mean, the look of the trailer. Let's talk about the look of the trailer as well. What did you think about? I mean, for myself, this was a very glossy, good-looking, action-packed trailer. What always worries me, though, about trailers that are like that is they always show the best bits of the episode, and then when you get to see the film, it's all in the trailer. But how did you guys react to this when you saw it?
Well, I don't want to sound like a grumpy old see you next Tuesday, but I wasn't really impressed with the visuals. But in terms of the hype of the series, I know we talked about this earlier, I'm kind of feeling still like, come on, it's October now, Can we get a proper feeling of an anniversary? I just feel a bit nonplussed. The trailer on Christmas Day I was stoked about. I loved it, but I just feel like it looks great, but I don't feel very excited about it.
Mm-hmm. That's fair enough. That's fair enough. I mean, what do you think will get you excited? Will it be when you're sitting down on the night, maybe?
Well, Beat the Meep is that's what I'm looking forward to the most of the Star Beast, because I love that comic strip. So I'm really looking forward to that. But the rest of it, I don't know. But I mean, I'm a Doctor Who fan. I'll watch it 6 times until I like it, and I'll be fine. But
well, that's what we do. I mean, what's going to happen is, I think a lot of fans will be very busy over that transmission period, because you're going to have the hour episode, and then a lot of them, especially the younger ones, will go back and watch it again, and then watch it again. And if they're broadcasting it over 3 nights, as is rumored, and as we've heard that could possibly be happening, they're not going to be away from a television or a computer screen for 4 days at least, because then, they could go back on the actual Sunday and watch all 3 together again. So you've got the whole story in one piece there. Yeah, so I understand what you're saying. So it'd be interesting to see how, with you having said that now, Paul, how you feel when we come back to review the actual episodes in November. I think that's going to be very interesting.
Well, I think it's interesting, if even just looking at watching Doctor Who in general, your opinion can change from the first viewing to seeing it a couple of times. I think actually I'm getting more into it now. I mean, even with Classic Who, I've found if you watch stories again after seeing them like 2 years ago, your opinion might change on that. So I do think it can be in flux a little bit in terms of how you feel about a particular episode. don't
No,
know.
those are that.
Not that
Those
one.
are
No,
close.
not that one. No, not that one. No.
A real one. Jack's saying
Yeah.
here in response to what Brendan was saying, big budgets can corrupt. Smaller budgets and Who always promoted clever invention and creativity. Now, we, of course, talk about that all the time on the review show, on the playlist there, because we all brought up with Doctor Who that was done on 20p if they were very, very lucky, you know? And it was down to their creativity. It was down to the imagination. It was down to sheer talent, let's face it, of everybody that worked on the original series. And sometimes, you know, there's elements where, and I've said this in some of the review shows, I watch an episode now for us to review, and as JNT used to say, the memory can cheat, because I'll think things were much bigger. You know, there were thousands of Zygons, there were thousands of Cybermen, there were thousands of Daleks, because they made you believe there were. Actually, there were just 3. You know, and just, it's very clever how they do that. But now with all the CGI and stuff, they can really go over the top, can't they, Jack? Yeah, I think sometimes you have to be restrained.
Jack's right, and it's the key to the producer's role, because the executive producer, because yes, in the past, writers had to just be imaginative because there was no budget there. Now we've got the budget, and I've thought this since New Who came back. You just is be careful when you're writing, to be disciplined. Do we need 1 million Daleks, or do we just need a few, actually? Because sometimes, as you were saying, JT, then, and I think Jack was hinting at too, is allow for some imagination still to work in the viewer's mind. Don't give it all. There's no need. Always hint at it. Always hint at more. And so, you know, it was very exciting at the end of that first series with Chris Eccleston, when you suddenly saw 1 million Daleks, so to speak, in space.
Yes.
Because we've never seen it before. But please don't do it all the time, like 1 million Cybermen in space.
Yeah, because it becomes the norm, doesn't it, Brendan? And you get used to it, and you just think, I mean, look, if you look at that, I mean, that first season, as we said on The Unquiet Dead, it's a show in itself. Had it finished after that, I think that would have been brilliant, to be honest, because we had that self-contained season. But you're absolutely right. At the end of it, we were all thrilled, because there is the Dalek armies we'd always wanted when we were kids. And that was special. They repeat it the year after, it's not as special. But when you look at the Lone Dalek episode in that very first season, incredibly powerful, you know? And I think you're right on that one. Time Lord 2023 here is saying Neil Patrick Harris is the brilliant choice as the toy maker. I also think he could go after Donna to punish the Doctor for stopping him last time. Interesting.
You know, we said, what does that trailer look like to you? Yep, glossy, high production values, exciting, lots of money. The thing that came across to me, and I'm going to say it, my second name is Noble. One of my favorite companions is Donna Noble. And I have to say, Donna Noble, oh my God, Catherine Tate. Oh, she's back. That bit when the TARDIS has put an indentation on some spaceship or something. And then the Doctor says that when it's scared, I think this is the HADS that we had in the Proton, that the TARDIS runs away when it's scared. And she said, well, let's go and kick its ass. I mean, please.
That's Donna all over, though, isn't it?
I love Donna Noble. And when she says we've got bloody Martians around and all the rest of it.
Yeah. I want to mention to you, now you've mentioned that bit in the trailer, that bit that you've just said there, which we're illustrating on the show there. Now that's the bit where the TARDIS has disappeared in the trailer. Donna's saying what it was frightened, or this sort of stuff. But actually, if you look at the background, it's the same position where the TARDIS is there.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So there is a story here, everybody. You know, there is a story. This time round, there's a story involved. Everything's coming together. We're seeing bits and pieces.
I mean, in the Crotons, I love the HADS when Charlton mentioned the HADS, and the TARDIS just moved, didn't it? It just moved position. So whether it's just
we've got some great comments coming through here. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us for Sunday Breakfast Live. We appreciate all your comments. Keep them coming. We've got Woodhouse122 here saying, nice to see you, by the way, as well, Rory. For me, the trailer felt like a lie generic, like something for MCU spin-off TV rather than Doctor Who. What do you think about that one then, John?
I don't know. I don't bother with MCU spin-offs.
Fair enough.
This is Doctor Who, and this is a trailer for Doctor Who, and I'll deal with it in those terms. And we've been asking for months for something a bit more substantial. We got it, and we got it in spades, and yet we're still not satisfied. This was a hugely significant release in terms of whetting the appetite of the public and us as fans. There'll be more to come, I'm absolutely sure. But we have to remember, this is showing probably the most successful companion-doctor relationship that New Who has had in terms of Donna the Doctor. It's Donna-centric by the looks of things.
Yeah.
And that is going to make people think, people watched it way back 12, 14 years ago, going, oh, this is good.
Yeah.
Kids, I remember when we used to watch this, and that's its purpose. It's not to be compared to anything else. It's not to be sniffed at. It's just to whet the appetite. That's what trailers do. Now, it may well be that we end up getting the majority of the good stuff in the trailers, Paul says. That might be what's happened. But you know what? Let's decide that once we've seen the thing. Has it done its job as far as I'm concerned? Yes, it has, and in spades.
I think that there's an interesting shot. You're talking about budget earlier, JT. An interesting shot with the TARDIS being carried by the helicopters to unit base.
Yeah.
You can see how much the money has increased, because if you compare that to our review of Day of the Doctor and some of the shots in that, it's a very similar opening shot. It looks far better shot than that same action in Day of the Doctor, don't you think?
Have we any idea what the budgets are these days per episode? Do we
Not
know?
for this one. It hasn't been revealed. And to be honest, as I've said before, they don't necessarily have to, because it's not all public money now. Part of it is private investment, so they don't actually have to give us that information. I do know that Panini are working on a 60th anniversary special making of type edition, which I will be definitely buying that one. It may give us some indication on that, but at the moment, no, we don't have access to that information.
But on your reference about the MCU world and what Doctor Who the trailer's doing, I like John. I've not really dabbled with MCU, but I think what is relevant. But what is interesting is RTD knows the TV climate we're fighting. He referred to Anton Deck in 2005. Fair enough. This time he knows and I think it's a shift in production position or ambition. It sounds as though RTD wants to take on the MCU franchise. I think he's up for it. Before, he was talking about taking on an ITV franchise, so to speak. This time, he seems to be upping the ambition and saying, I know what MCU are doing. We're going to have our own Avengers Tower. We're going to go big scale. We'll have the big helicopter carrying the TARDIS, emulating and echoing the 50th, the stunt at the beginning. I think this is his drawing a line in the sand. I think this is ambition.
Well, he had it before. If you remember back when he started, we had Doctor Who, Torchwood, Sarah Jane Adventures. That he'd started that, then he left to do other projects and other things, as you do, and it all fell to bits. And nobody else had that drive, ambition, or want. So we all know that they actually do want that sort of diverse WHONIVERSE, hence the term the WHONIVERSE. We do know that they're looking into that. It's all about making money, isn't it? At the end of the day, they want to make as much money from this, what is now a franchise, a proper franchise, as much as they possibly can. But I don't think they should run before they walk. I really don't.
Yeah, and that's the thing about existing. Way back in the 1970s when Star Wars came out, Tom Baker and Graham Williams and they all went to watch it in the cinema and said, oh, that's changed everything as far as we're concerned, because this is people's expectations regarding science fiction. And a lot of people think that's when, Doctor Who had to change or die, and it may well have led to the reboot that roughly the JNT gave it. However, that's the way television nowadays. It's got to be big, it's got to be bold, it's got to be brassy, it's got to be big budget. If you want to do a genre show, you have to do that. Doctor Who can't be like it was in the 1970s. Sticky back plastic and business. If you want it that way, yeah, but it won't survive. That's just it. But at the same time, what we must rely on is the fact that scriptwriters and producers don't rely on the fact that we have big budgets in order to see us through weak storylines. We need both together. That's what's important. So I don't mind the million Daleks, and I don't mind the single Daleks, as long as you get a good variation and as long as
there's a reason.
The tail doesn't wag the dog.
Yeah, there's got to be a reason, and we've got to say, I think we didn't need JNT to start thinking maybe about Star Wars. We had K9, R2D2. We straight away we went for it. And K9 was a very successful character in Doctor Who. It was emulating. I suppose it was inspired possibly because of what was going on in Star Wars. But we created it. We did it our way, and we made it funny. R2D2 was a great name, C-3PO, but K9 had humour attached to it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have to be very careful. I've always said, get the main show right before you start spinning off into other things.
I can understand what John's saying about the variety, Doctor Who needs variety. And if you look back at RTD's original run, something like Midnight, a very claustrophobic show set on a coach. I mean, that's fantastic. And if you go with something like that and have all, 1 week it is like big space battles, next minute's very intimate. You need
Because
that
was all
variety
basically-
to make it work.
That was filmed
Yeah.
in one room.
Yeah.
One room,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, one set.
Fantastic.
One lovely
But,
set. But it always comes to, it has to be story. Never mind effects.
Yeah.
Never mind all this. Never mind. It has to be the story. Without a story, you've got nobody watching it. And we're seeing that now in Hollywood, aren't we? They're going down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When they're doing all them ridiculous spin-offs of Star Wars and that. But JT, when I said the MCU thing in reference to what you said, I don't mean spin-offs. I'm saying he's taken on the visuals. He's taken on that budget size in the actual main program.
I would hope so if you're going to get a lot of money. To be honest, I would like to see Doctor Who where it should be, where we've always wanted it to be. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is Doctor Who really saying this time we are aiming to go global. We really are. With the help
Well, that's
of
the
Disney.
plan, isn't it? Time Lord's reporting here that Russell has actually said that the streaming platforms are ready, the spin-offs are ready. I think there could be a really exciting future for Doctor Who as a kind of Marvel-esque shared universe. I mean, we do have that as well, Time Lord 2023. I mean, it started, as we've just mentioned there, in the 80s when Doctor Who and its first ever spin-off, which was K9 and Company, which was a massive hit here, a massive hit. It would have been even more of a massive hit if we didn't have problems with the Winter Hill transmitter, which lost a fair size percentage of the country. It would have got into 10 millions and more because of if that transmitter hadn't been lost in the winter. So we have had that. So it's building on formats that have been made before. We've also got here, excuse me, we've got Jack saying the idea of a Doctor Who becoming MCU-like and having a massive budget turns his stomach. That's fair enough. It is fair enough. We just have to wait and see what goes. And TARDIS Spider is saying our way won't work anymore. The kids will play Doctor Who if the stories excite them. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Go on.
Well, I found it interesting, and it's not a spoiler for later, but obviously the reference, Bonnie Lanford, in one moment in the Doctor Who magazine, she referred to that scene at the end of The Power of the Doctor when all the old companions met was a last-minute written piece. She said it was very last minute. And we've all said, and we've all suspected that this is when RTD got involved, added a scene or two possibly,
yes,
to set himself up for the spin-off idea, which we all think is centered around Unit, possibly. Look, I hear what all our viewers are saying, and I'm not an MCU lover, and I'm not into watching this and watching that. And I know that if Doctor Who runs too fast, it will burn itself, and it's dangerous. You need to build the fans back up again slowly.
You also need to build the public up as well. Without the public, you've got no shows.
Yeah, you need them to love the program again and forget some of the stuff. And if you start spinning off too quickly, I think we all agree it will dilute it. We've all been Doctor Who fans for one big reason, and it's always been driven by good story. That's always been the winner, and I agree with that. Budget can't trump story.
And if they go too much down the Hollywood route here, they will lose that, because you look at some of these Hollywood movies now, or these series that are coming out of Disney or Paramount or wherever, you can't really get excited about the narrative because the story it's contained within 45 minutes. You know, it's not dangerous. You know, they're all going to be huffing and joking at the end in a British style, in a sense. You know, we've just been through hell. Let's have a cup of tea. But it doesn't necessarily...
Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. Look at the villain here as well. You know, who's the villain this week? Let's pull his mask off here. John is actually saying here as well, latest Star Wars series is not even in the Nielsen top 20 for the ratings. Is that the Ahsoka one? Because the script and characters are not engaging. That's the thing. If they've just churned something out to tick a box or to get something else out onto their platform to get people subscribing, massive bad business in my eyes. No, have good quality. And I think, personally, it could work for Doctor Who. I really do. Because we've got a breadth of characters there that could be looked at. We would like some new characters as well, but they have to be characters. They have to be believable. And I think the situations could be good. We always joked about it in the 80s, didn't we? Looking back at Unit, the Briggs unit. Oh, it would have been a great story with Havoc. Well, it would have been a nice little spin-off series as well. It could work. It could work today if the story, if the characterization, if it's produced properly.
And if you have the right showrunner, and we do, because RTD knows how to add that soap opera element, build a family. He knows character. I really trust in RTD on this one. I loved when Who had the Rose family, the Tyler family, and everything.
Yeah.
And
I hated all that.
Oh no, I think that it was.
It needs all that now. It needs all that now.
It possibly could. I don't know. I just don't like that soap opera element in Doctor Who. I want the Doctor to be a companion and going off. I don't want them coming back every 20 minutes.
I don't like in a lot of science fiction either. But you want this program to be a success. Most television's compromise is you draw on strands and elements that are popular. You know, kids don't watch kids' TV anymore. They watch soap operas.
Yeah, they
that
do.
was true back then.
Shocking,
That's
yeah.
just what they do. So you have to, in order to get them in, it has to look like the television that they choose to watch. So yeah, as older fans, we might not be interested in what Rose's mum's up to and our boyfriends or whatever it is, but nonetheless, that's good. Provided it doesn't swamp the thing, that's a key part of drawing viewers in. And without viewers, we ain't get no program.
I mean,
I would also argue that the reason that they're watching all these alleged soap operas is because they're now produced in the children's time slots. They took all the children's television off the terrestrial channels and hid them all away. So you've got Neighbours, you've got the other one, the Hollyoaks, you've got all that sort of stuff that's captured these kids because they don't know where else to go. They're not watching anything that we used to watch. Even Blue Peter's figures are apparently down. That's terrible for the longest running kids series in the world.
I'd be expecting even the tone and the editing of the program and how it presents is different. Like if you look at Heartstoppers and you get all that texting going on all the time, and it happens in a lot of shows now. I'm expecting to see that because that's their language. You need a lot of texting on screen.
Well, this is the importance about this as well. They've got to find the balance because Doctor Who isn't necessarily just for the kids. You have an inbuilt fan base there of a certain age. You've got to bring us back because we've got the money. And then you've also got to make sure that it's family friendly, and you've got to make sure it's available for everybody of every political persuasion.
Yeah, and that's
so it's a big ask.
That's the reason why I mentioned about, like in the soap opera element, we've got to draw on different strands and make that goes to make the program. But I agree with Brendan about the texting. There's many movies we watch on TV now, and if a young person's communicating with another person, the text will come up. I can never read the blessed thing; it's far too small. But
the texting thing has been in Doctor Who for a little while now. I think it was introduced in the Matt Smith era as well, wasn't it? Really,
well, show on screen on movies now. They show on screen.
Yeah. So there was that sort of stuff has been there. It is. I mean, I think from my point of view as well, they've got to be careful of making sure it's not too modern day. Because I will say this again: I have a theory that anything from around about 2006-7 onwards will date more than original Doctor Who because it's all set in the present day. There was one episode I seem to remember where you've got the gorgeous Barbara Windsor crops up. Now Barbara's no longer with us, so that dates it. You know, so will it be watched in 50 years? I'm not sure. And sometimes I think too much about the soap opera element. That is eventually going to fade out a little bit. It's going to change again. Television trends will say. The beauty about original Doctor Who was it was always timeless. You can watch something now from 66 and get something from it, you know, because of story, back to story.
You can see patterns developing in this new era that reflect what it was like before. So maybe there will have that pattern of modern day, then history, then future, and have a lot of variety. So it won't all be set in 2023.
I hope so, or 24, because the next series. We do know that the next series evolves around Ruby Sunday because apparently her social worker's in it.
Oh, right.
Lord!
So she's a tearaway.
Let's not judge it before we see it.
No, I'm not judging. I'm just stating in the conversation we're having. Again, it's rooted in the modern day.
The trailer already. We're making judgments about what the program.
It's not judgments. It's just comments. We can't judge it because we haven't seen it.
No, but Doctor Who fans, it's just speculation. You know it.
This is what we do, and this is what the show's all about.
But you know, a lot of children, and I know because I work in education, or works in education, a lot of kids now will have contact with social workers. So by having Ruby have a social worker, you will be reflecting their lives back at them, you know, and that's good. That makes proper sense. That's proper inclusion.
Well, we will. Well, listen. We're going to agree to disagree because I don't believe inclusion has any place in Doctor Who because it's a bloody science fiction fantasy show. Take the kids out of the real world and take them into the fantasy world and give them something else to talk about.
I agree with that entirely. You have to show children their real lives. You know what? Like their lives have to be reflected.
Well, that's what the soap operas are about, John. Surely they don't have to have it in Doctor Who as well.
Doctor Who.
No, I disagree.
JT, Harry Potter, he was bullied. It brought reality. Kids could kind of sympathize with that character. When we had the New Who, we had a single mother with Rose. Now we're going to have a girl who has a social worker. And I've been in education too, and it's just the reality of it. It's the world.
We will agree to disagree. I am not in education. Don't want to be in education because I see the ideology that is in education. I am totally against it. But I will stick to my guns and say I don't see why a science fiction and fantasy show should revolve around reality. They get enough of that on reality television and also in soap operas. Doctor Who is not a soap opera.
You have to
Doctor Who is not a soap opera. Yeah. But well, you know, the topic was brought up, and I'm not going to shy away from it. You know, I'll question anything that's brought into it.
I was glad I was in education, JT, because I did a bloody good job in it too, as I'm sure Brendan did as well. But what that gives is an insight into people's real lives. And that's the only comment we're making about this, that Doctor Who must reflect its viewership back at them. And I didn't take any part in some of the stuff that goes on in education, as did most teachers don't either. However, people's lives must be reflected back at them in the television they watch today, so that you're able to engage with the character. And while Ruby Sunday may well have a social worker, or she may well have a background which reflects a lot of what goes on with teens today, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to dominate the narrative. And if it ends up doing it, I'll be the first to condemn it. But you know what? Let's give it a chance.
Can I just say...
No, hang on, Brendan. I want to address that. I want to come back with the right reply to that. I'm not condemning this, John, at all. I'm actually looking forward to this. But with this subject, all I am saying, in my opinion, is Doctor Who is not a soap opera. Doctor Who is a science fiction fantasy show, and I don't personally believe that those elements have anything to do. We went through it very well with the original series. Wait, Brendan, please. We've had enough time. I think it dates the show. I think if we go back and look at certain things now from 2005 onwards, they will be dated. I think they will be totally out of place. What I'm saying is story should become before anything else. That's what I'm saying here. So I will judge the shows when I see the shows on this channel. I will judge them then when I've seen them. But at the moment, all I'm saying is I don't believe it should be in there.
Which is what I just said.
Can I just say, while we're speculating about what's going to work or not, the classic series does not get a free pass here, by the way. Can I just say, as a lad from Middlesbrough, I love Doctor Who, but it didn't represent me. Where were the working?
Why should it have to represent you, Brendan?
No. The point is, we got Ace in the end. The point is, they were all middle class companions. They're all middle class doctors with a plum in their mouth. I mean, I do like this version of Doctor Who, where it actually talks to more people out there than just the middle class mob.
Right. Well, again, I'm going to agree to disagree with you. I don't think it has a place in it. I think, quite frankly, representation is not required. I'm sick and tired of hearing the word representation, which is why we're going off into all these other elements that are coming into this. I am absolutely sick and tired of it. see just want good story with good characters with the right person. I don't care if people can't see representation. That's why they shouldn't.
As you said before, JT, it's your channel. We'll give you the last word. But that's just what I just said as well. But I'm not going to raise my eyebrows to the sky because a social worker happens to be in it. I don't think that means anything bad about the program. Let's judge it in what we do.
Well, that's what we're going to do. And I only brought that topic in because it was relevant to the piece we were talking at the time, John. That's why I brought that into it.
You raised your eyes, JT, and that's the reason why this started.
Because we're talking about all the usual stuff, inclusion and representation. I just don't believe it has a place in Doctor Who. I don't think it's that. It's a science fiction show. It's a sci-fi show. Well, in a science fiction show, we should be on other planets and exploring other planets, and that's what I think Doctor Who's about. I don't think it should be messing around with people's families or friends, but that's my opinion, as I've stated many times before. What were you saying, Paul?
I was going to say that I think, in a nutshell, what it boils down to, and I agree with John when you give it a chance, is whether it's any good. Is it entertaining? Is it fun? Is it Doctor Who for us? So is it going to work? If it works, great. And I'm open-minded about this, and I want to enjoy it. I said earlier, I wasn't so keen on the trailer, and I wasn't that excited, but I want to like this. I want to enjoy it. I want Doctor Who back. That's what I want.
I think that's what we all want to have back. As long as they get the story right and it's recognizable, I think that's the main point.
Look, the present discourse in our world, and that is the world, is all about representation, inclusivity, all this stuff. The trouble is, it then becomes pejorative. Can I just pull it back a bit? Because I can see Jack saying he doesn't want to be represented. I think we're all getting a little bit kind of soundbitey. Can I just pull it back and there be a little bit more deep on this one? It's only a good story if it talks to somebody on the bloody planet Earth. we don't make up some stupid character like Mel. Bonnie Lanford in the magazine says she had no hinterland. She was a computer programmer, no hinterland. So we couldn't engage with her, and she couldn't engage with the character. We need good storylines based on reality. And the reality is something about a human trait. It's not called inclusive. It's not called all this. It's not called representation. I think it's got to have a good story based on what's going on. And RTD in 2005, if we remember, and I do trust in it, his kind of instinct on this, he said, I don't want us on some far-off planet where the Zogs are fighting the booby-doos or something. I want humans.
Yes, but he only did that because the series was coming back, and he didn't want to take people into space too quickly. And he actually said the year after he got that wrong, because the British public were ready to go into space. I still think they are. Anyway, I want to get back to the trailer because we're going off topic here.
Can we bring the booby
reviews of the
into
show?
the series?
Sorry, Paul.
What was the booby boos you said, Brendan? You need to
copyright
that
now
and draw a picture of what they look like and send it to Russell T Davies.
I'm on it. Murder She Wrote. Type in going on now.
Yeah. I want to take us back to the shot of where am I up to? Oh, right. So we've got a returning character here for the 60th anniversary as well. Now, this seemed to please some of the fandom. We've got Kate Lethbridge-Stewart returning again. What was your reaction to this one, everybody?
Good. She's another top actress. I have to say, I'm pleased she's back because now she's got a good showrunner. She might actually get a developed character, and she deserves it because she's been loyal to the series.
Very much. Yeah, she's
okay.
Totally underdeveloped. You're right there, Brendan. Spot on. I would love this character to be given, a bit more substance. She was particularly badly treated in the last iteration of Doctor Who. Much better.
When was she last seen?
In Flux.
Power of the Doctor.
And what happened, JT? She was in Flux, and they introduced her, and then she stood at the back of the scene and was just present. She was just there. Nothing. And then she got back in the Power of the Doctor, had a bit more substance and a bit more going on there, but there was all sorts of bangs and flashes going on. But yeah, you're quite right. I would like this character respected because of the legacy aspect of it. This is Alistair's daughter, so I would like to see her given the motivation for this character would be her carrying on her father's legacy and working with the Doctor and, them sparking off each other based on her memories and recollections of Lethbridge-Stewart back in the day.
So is this what TARDIS Spider means?
Yeah, she needs to be one of the Brigadier's. No. He said she needs to be one of the Brigadier's, but she is the Brigadier's daughter, but she may as well be just A.N. other because that doesn't inform her character. They just come on and say, Kate Lethbridge-Stewart, and then she could be any character anywhere. If what has informed her decision to become head of unit and work with alien menaces and get the Doctor on board, that has to be informed by the work she did with her father, how she listened to him, all the rest of it. And I'd like to hear a little bit more than that. And then, of course, she could be other than just Lethbridge-Stewart's daughter as we progress her character. But nonetheless, don't just use the name. And that's what tends to happen in modern Who. It's just, she's a Lethbridge-Stewart movie.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's what's in danger of happening here. So it would be so interesting to see how Kate Lethbridge-Stewart does get developed. Alex is saying here, new unit is like Dala compared to originals unit cell block H, sadly. Would you agree with that, Paul?
Well, I was going to just go back slightly on Kate. Vanessa, Gemma Redgrave comes from a great family of actors. Yeah. And like John said, she's been underserved in terms of the character. And at the moment, I'm hoping she gets more development, but I think she's a very dull character because she's not been developed. And she doesn't give you've got this great actress in here to work as this character, and she gets nothing to do. Even when she was with Capaldi or Matt Smith, she had very little to do. She needs so much more development. So hopefully Russell will bring that. Otherwise, it's a waste of a character. It really is.
Yeah.
It's a waste of an actress.
An actress, exactly, yeah.
Well, that's the danger, isn't it? I mean, why would an actor take part in this and then just be shoved in the background and playing nothing? Well, they could just say they were in Doctor Who, maybe?
She does have a line. She does have a line in the trailer which is intriguing when she says to the Doctor, "How can we fight the human race?"
Yes, and I think that's because, as in that picture we had earlier, the Toymaker seems to have done something to the human race. Look at the left hand here, the chaos that he's caused in the streets of the world. You know, I'm assuming. And he's loving every second of that, absolutely loving every second of it. So yeah, I mean, that's what she must be. How do we fight the human race? Because they're up to something naughty. We also got a proper image of this.
Really?
Now, this is obviously the new Unit H quarters tower. Interesting.
Oh, yeah. It takes me back to that lovely imaginative, and I've forgotten the name. You know, when it was series 3, and we had that aircraft carrier in the sky, whatever it was called. I can't remember.
The Valiant.
You know,
The Valiant.
yes,
The Valiant, yeah.
Yeah, it was an imaginative idea. That's what I like. I mean, this is actually quite. I mean, I haven't watched the Avengers, but I've heard people refer to this as the Avengers Tower.
Yes.
No, this is my unit tower. I love that, and it just shows the scale of the ambition, and I'm excited by that.
It does show the scale of the ambition. I also went to look for this as well, because of course, as we all know, this is a set. This is a working set. We have seen Bonnie Langford standing on this thing. So it is a recurring set. And so it should be, because it's obviously cost them some money. If you go onto Google Earth, everybody, you can actually see it. There it is there at the Bad Wolf Production Studios in Cardiff. It's huge.
Spin off.
What else could it possibly? I mean, that is an investment. That is a huge amount of money. And why else would you were not going to build it for 1 or 2 episodes, are you? There's something going afoot with that. That's
I have
incredible.
to say, it looks like a giant odor eater for smelly feet, doesn't it?
I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I would not know on that one at all.
My feet are fragrant, Paul. I don't know what you're saying.
I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are. Yeah.
There have been the things about the Avengers Tower and stuff like that. TARDIS Spider saying, "A few afraid of heights." It does come across really, really well in the couple of pictures we had there about this. What's this one about as well? But will it get kids interested in it again? Big, exciting buildings, military monsters, perfect for kids who want to play, engage with merchandise incoming, possibly. Woodhouse 122 is saying it's definitely is Tony Stark's tower from the Avengers movies. Oh, that's who had it, right? Okay, Tony Stark. That was Iron Man, wasn't it? Yeah, what else we got here? Yeah, so that's great. Keep the comments coming in as well. So we've got that element there. Now, of course, the trailer actually ended with this. The new man himself making another cameo appearance in the trailer, and quite rightly too, because as we were saying before, they have to actually inform people that he is on the way. This isn't a new series with David Tennant. This is 3 one-offs, but this is the new leading man. So I it's nice to see when fans were a bit surprised he was included in the trailer, but I was expecting him to be. What about you lot?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I was. Yeah.
Glad he's there too. I think you hit the nail spot on there. You have to remind people that this isn't Doctor Who. This is a celebration. This is a sort of reboot. This is a reset rather than a reboot, if you like. And he's on his way. The 15th Doctor is coming. And I didn't realise until Paul mentioned it earlier that we'd quantified the amount of time that Shooty's in this. So are we expecting a 15-minute at the end, or is it 15-minute throughout? Flashes.
Who knows?
We don't know. Yeah.
We don't know. I'm assuming because he's in one shot, he's in a regeneration now. He's in Tennant's outfit. I'm assuming towards the end. Certainly, that's how I would do it. I would certainly leave it on a cliffhanger to get people back at Christmas and get people talking about it. I'd do something quite big because, as I say, the danger is there that they'll tune in for Tennant and Tate and then they're gone. After 3 hours,
it's interesting if this version of the 14th Doctor, Tennant's new incarnation, does turn out to be the influence of the Toymaker, then it could well be that Shooty's trying to break through the real sort of what should have been the actual regeneration into Shooty. May well be trying to break through, and that's why I'm wondering: are we getting sporadic bits, or is it all at the end? It's going to be fascinating.
When he says what the hell is going on, that would make sense, as in where's, and then there's been discussion that my memory today, in the Power of the Doctor, all the old Doctors were sat on that ledge of subconsciousness on it, weren't there? And there's talk that kind of colour behind looks as though Shooty's there, regaining his regeneration, so to speak. He's in his outfit, by the way. He's not in the Tennant outfit on that little shot you had there. The other thing was this little glimmer of him in the trailer is a bit like the glimmer of Peter Capaldi's eyebrows in the 50th.
Yes.
Not as subtle and not as powerful, but I think this is exciting because we we may get to see him way before the 25th of December, we assume, episode. And I think that would tie in nicely. I mean, it's nice to have an anniversary year with that twist of the actually being able to participate, because usually when you think of the 10th anniversary, the 20th anniversary, there was a new Doctor incoming, but we saw them the year after. It was also the same in 2013, although apart from that little glimpse of Capaldi, you got the first thing. So it's nice that we're actually getting Ncuti's first run in this to tie it into his first full episode. I'm hoping this works for him.
What about that fantastic when you saw John Hurt turn? And that set us up for the 50th. You thought, John Hurt, the War Doctor, wow. And you got the full figure of him. And, there's an element of that, I think, going on. Sorry, Paul.
I was going to say, I think you may get, we were talking when we did the Sarah Jane tribute show about Sarah Jane Adventure. If you remember Death of the Doctor, I think there's a scene in that where the 11th Doctor and Clyde keep clicking back and forward.
Yes,
I reckon that's what's going to happen with 10 and 250, I think, possibly.
That's interesting. That's interesting. That was written by Russell as well.
That episode was written by Russell T Davies as well. So that may make possible reference to that.
Woodhouse 122 is saying to us here, because people in the chat, great to see you're all having a chat. I can't keep up with you. It's fantastic. Keep it coming. Merchandise is dead at the moment, so the Bee will be hoping RTD does the business again. They have to, because you're right, it is. And the quality of the merchandise is also, as a huge merchandise fan myself, I'm very judgmental over a lot of the merchandise we've had over the last few years. A, it's been nondescript, and B, it's been very poor when it has appeared. And it's the usual players now. We've got BBC Books, bless them, BBC Audio, bless them, Character Options, bless them. There's been nothing novel. I do know there's lots of stuff coming for next year. I just don't know what it is, because they're keeping it all very tight. Obviously, there's the usual stuff from Character Options coming, and I think that's coming for Christmas, but don't quote me. Keep in touch with us on the channel, because as soon as I know anything, we'll do something in the merchandise paradise and we can all talk about it. But yeah, they have to up the game when it comes to the merchandise, because it's just been...
As TARDIS Spider said, I want a Beep the Meep for Christmas, a cuddly kind of plush type toy. That's what I want.
I mean, that's a big seller, and I don't think one's going to be happening, but I would have had one out there, because there will be certain kids. I mean, it's possibly because of this. I don't want to spoil it for Time Lord 2023 is obviously new, but it's possibly because of what happens. Who knows? Who knows what's going on there?
Maybe you have two settings on it, perhaps. I don't know.
Alex has joined us here. The Light Dreams one. Great to see you, mister. It's a reminder this will be a temporary regeneration. It is. It has to be. Whether or not the public have taken that up, I don't know. I think that's going to be the other element of what comes next, doesn't it? As we build up to throughout October, and then the obligatory interviews with the cast, with the showrunner, with the directors. That's all going to be coming up, isn't it? Could we be looking at Beep Mania, says TARDIS Spider? That would have been fun. After all these years, that could have been very fun. I would like a Beep toothbrush, quite honest. That would have been quite nice. What else we got here? Yeah, so we've got all that with the trailer element there as well. So yeah, keep your conversations coming as to what you think about the trailer and whether you're excited to it. Jack's saying here, when it comes to Beep, I want that plush too. Maybe I'll leave the voice box batteries out. It would be interesting. So John, on the back of the trailer, we also had an announcement of what is effectively another spin-off, didn't we? Sorry, Paul.
Yes. Now, again, there's pattern developing again. Like I said, there's lots of things that are very similar. And this new piece of news is a spin-off or a new version of Doctor Who Confidential called Doctor Who Unleashed, presented by, I think it's Stephen Powell. Is that the man there opposite?
That's right, yeah, Stephen Powell.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I think it's great to have these kind of programs to try and draw their viewers in and have more Doctor Who content. Only thing I would say about this is when Confidential started, it was quite novel, and then it got a bit repetitive. I remember the episode with the Planet of the Dead, and they spent 45 minutes talking about getting a double-decker bus from London to Dubai, and that was a bit dreary. But I think the idea of it's sound, and it's great to have. It's great to have another Doctor Who product, and I think they brought back BBC Three recently from being an online channel back to being an ordinary.
Yes, back on. Yeah,
and
that's right.
They probably just did it for Doctor Who a bit, just to get another avenue for them to broadcast something about Doctor Who. And will it be straight after the episodes? It could be so, like it did for Confidential, and hopefully it will continue into Ncuti's era as well. Because I imagine it's not just for the specials.
No, it does look like it's carrying on. We have to say that that's all we know about it at the moment. It is hinted that it's going to be on more immediately after the shows have been broadcast on BBC One here in the UK. What we do have, though, I just introduced this gentleman. There's a picture of him there with David Tennant, obviously. This is a BBC with Bright Branch production, Doctor Who Unleashed. I'll just explain. Stephen Powell will be a name that's new to us, but he's a BBC gaming correspondent and former Radio 1 Newsbeat presenter. He's actually done a hell of a lot of work. He's very accomplished. So again, talking to the point that we've got a new generation, they will recognize this gentleman as he starts taking them through this. The shows include exclusive interviews with those stars in front of the camera, as well as those behind it. Unleashed is the ultimate companion to Doctor Who, being produced by Bright Branch Media for BBC Studios, for BBC Three and the BBC iPlayer. So it's also going to be on the iPlayer as well. So yeah, why didn't just I don't like the name Unleashed. It reminds me of dogs and stuff like that. So I don't understand why it's Doctor Who. Years and years ago, we had a video available called K9 Unleashed, which seemed to suit the title. I would have just called it Confidential, a brand that's known and loved by Doctor Who fans. I would have just rebooted it.
I'll call it Doctor Who Confidential 2 or something like that, you know. But
a sequel.
You see, the thing about the original Doctor Who Confidential series, I like the behind the scenes. Every fan does. But I liked, if it was necessary, that they did the touch with the classics to explain to the younger fans the link. So with the Toy Maker, to have some archive footage from the Toy Maker, to then have the writer explaining why he used the Toy Maker, that kind of behind the scenes and then link to where the origins of the story were. I loved that when they did that, because we've got to remember, you're trying to introduce new people to it. And of course, to say there's a whole hinterland, by the way, and the Toy Maker was all the way back to with the first Doctor. That I did like that element when it was behind the scenes, linked with, if necessary, some archive footage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the beauty of these things, I think these things are needed, because had we had these things back in our day when we were watching John, Tom, Peter, etc., I mean, the shows used to inspire us. We wanted to know more about how to do this. Some people went into television and production and theatre, etc. Some of us did that. It was because of Doctor Who. We've also got obviously, we know Russell, Stephen, Chibnall, etc., all because of their love of Doctor Who. I think these shows are a brilliant way of actually showing off how things are done and inspiring new youngsters to say, I want to do that, or can I do that? And because they've got so much technology in front of them now and so much ability, they don't actually need to go and work for the big players anymore. I mean, look at us on this now. We've got a channel here. We're talking to people. We're interacting with people. We're talking about our favorite show. They can do all sorts of things now. And I think if this show can inspire people again, I think it's all very exciting. Very exciting.
It's funny you're saying, JT, about if we had Confidential when we were growing up as kids watching Doctor Who, I would have loved that. That'd be fabulous. And one memory I do have is of the Live the Arts documentary that Melvin Bragg presented, Who's Doctor Who? And that had lovely behind-the-scenes stuff for Charles Wen Chiang, which was amazing. Imagine having that then would have been fabulous.
Well, yeah, because they just didn't do things like that in those days, did they? It was very much right, bang, 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 here it is, and then they move on to the other stuff. There was, I mean, the nearest we also got, apart from that one that you're saying there, was the occasional things on Swap Shop or Blue Peter. Yeah. Do you remember when Noel Edmonds used to walk around on a Saturday morning live? Yeah. Wonderful.
Take Two, Ask Aspel was, you got them little touches. We mentioned one with the Curse of Fenric where there was a tiny element, wasn't there? And it showed you behind the scenes. But remember, in the old days, the producers didn't want to spoil the magic of Doctor Who. You know, Daleks weren't released on special, and it's changed, hasn't it? Because obviously we've got a savvy world now, and the kids are more savvy, so we've got to...
You're spot on. You're spot on with that, Brent. People like to see behind the curtain. Strangely enough, in our house, we were never allowed to watch Doctor Who Confidential together because my husband George just hates to know how they did things. He likes the magical aspect and doesn't want to know how it was done. He doesn't like watching a few DVD extras and interviews with people, but when you get into the nitty-gritty of, he thinks it spoils the magic. So whenever I had to watch it by myself,
well, yeah, but it's there. I can understand that, actually. And it's actually quite lovely that I don't want to know how that was done. That's quite sweet in the context of the show. But it's there if you want it, isn't it? And because it's going to be shown on BBC Three and the BBC iPlayer, you have to go and look for it. You do have to do your homework that, because we know itself BBC Three on foot is not pulling in I think it's on its last chance now. And obviously Russell being a huge supporter of the BBC, huge. Won't have a bad word said against it anywhere to this very day. Of course, he was going to start putting things onto BBC Three. It was natural for him, I think, you know, to do that. Yeah, I don't know.
Think about it. I think we have to remind ourselves sometimes. Tell me another program on the BBC where they show you the making of. I mean, honestly, this program, I tell you what, they are ambitious and they are hoping to get people hungry again, that they want more. Oh, it's just set up. I mean, I'm willing them on because we need those halcyon days back. And yeah, do they make a behind the scenes of Casualty? Do they make a behind the scenes? No, they don't. It's only Doctor Who. Yeah. They really are up for it.
I think that's important, Brendan, because I think the BBC is now entering into a period of its existence where its very existence, the licence fee, is under question.
Every day.
Russell T Davis, you're quite right, he's a great supporter of the BBC. He absolutely knows the value of Doctor Who, the property, to the BBC, more so than the BBC ever has done. The BBC's never got Doctor Who. It's never got it at all. But he knows the value of this property in terms of, you know, making the link between BBC, outside broadcasters, with Disney, with merchandise, you know, and first and foremost with its audience. And the extension to that with a BBC Three show, an online show, whatever, he will use his talents to extend the BBC's, you know, sort of remit or reach, if you like.
Yes.
But I think he gets that more than executives at the BBC do, because they are complacent. They're very complacent about that, and they just don't realise and have never realised the value of the property that they have in Doctor Who.
Totally agree. And I think, you know, if you had more, the reason, Brendan, you were saying that you don't see a making of other shows is because you don't have a Russell T Davis working on them.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that they're not all looking at things like this. And we've had that lull. Confidential ended years ago. It was very successful. Yes, it did get a bit tired. It became a bit routine. Fans were starting to complain about it because it was just all the time. I understand why they gave it a break. But, you know, if they had other versions, if other producers or if other shows were taking this seriously, Casualty has a massive fan base. We knew that when they axed Holby City. That didn't go down very well at all. There are other shows there they could do. They just don't have the drive that Russell has. You know, it's, let's get this done very, very quickly and get it out of the way. But we have got that coming back. Doctor Who Unleashed will be seen in November 2023. And all we can say to Stefan Powell as well is welcome to the family. Good luck. And I hope you have a good run of this, because it does look like it's going to be going into Christmas and into the new year, depending on the feedback. So good luck to you, Stefan, and everybody that's working on that. And also, of course, to the production company that are putting that out there. It's nice to see things slowly starting to happen. Okay, so yeah, thank you very much. You are watching us here on Who's Views. This is Sunday Breakfast. The TARDIS Spider is saying he's here. If you're watching and you're not in the chat, please come and join in the chat. The chat is extremely lively this morning as well. Not bad at all for breakfast. Yes, as Brendan's saying there, please like and subscribe. Phew, that was the trailer. Right, we're going to very, very quickly say that Mr. Gatwa, our new leading man, has been out and about again over September. He is really doing his bits and pieces, going to all these fancy posh parties. And this was the next one. On September the 14th, Shooty joined other people at the Best of British themed event for Vogue at Vogue World in London. Now, this was apparently the best of London culture and fashion. It was held at the beautiful Theatre Royal at Drury Lane, and it also explored the autumn and winter fashions for 2023. Personally, I don't think any of us are going to be walking into Tesco in this particular outfit, but I must admit I love the Pertwee-esque boots, the heel there. I think Mr. Pertwee would like to have a look at himself. I think that's absolutely lovely, but that's where he was. He joined various other alleged celebrities, including Mikhail Coel. Forgive me, never heard of them. Yeah, exactly. Victoria Beckham was there, who, of course, is huge in the industry as well. Ian McKellen was there. And for some very surprising, but explains an awful lot, Sadiq Khan, the mayor of London, was also there as well. So, yeah, that's where he was up to. You may have also seen that. That might have been the outfit he wore there, but there is another outfit for the new Doctor. It's this one. This, of course, is Shooty's stuntman. I'm sure you've seen this picture as well. Excuse me. This is the latest outfit. He's in a kilt. which is nothing wrong with that at all. But is that too much of a nod to his Scottish heritage? I don't know. Again, I'm going to wait for it because I think Shooty would actually, I think he'd suit a kilt. So we'll have to wait and see what that's about.
Good. I mean, I have to say, we sat here all of a certain age. I tell you what a body. Well, show it off, man. Show it off. You know, enjoy yourself because it all goes downwards later on. So just enjoy yourself.
Well, can I just say, as a straight man, he's even turning my head now. What can I say? But
and
yeah, I mean, it's still going to be interesting to see why this particular Doctor is deciding that he's really going to exploit the TARDIS wardrobes, which I'm not saying is a good or bad thing, but I wonder if there's going to be something about that. You know, it's very interesting.
Well, when you used to buy Action Man, you get all the accessories and you could dress him up just like you could Barbie. So maybe that's what's going on.
Yeah. Did Action Man have a kilt variant? He didn't, did he? Because it's an American. I can't remember. I don't know.
is Palatoy not British?
Yes, it was, wasn't it? It was.
Yeah.
Light Dream saying they need to put the science back into the fiction. Oh, Lex. Ooh, Lex, you're being scathing here. Says, pass the bucket. TARDIS Spider saying, is this a throwback to Baker and Terror of the Zygons? Possibly. Who knows? And for some reason, we've got John saying here, wait until he discovers custard donuts. That's interesting, that one. I don't know what that was about, but that's going to be interesting. So there we go. So yeah, that's another outfit for the 15th Doctor to add to the collection. We will be looking at all these outfits when they are broadcast as well, of course, from Christmas Day onwards into the new series, which is scheduled to be broadcast in the spring of 2024. Right then, so we're heading over now to Doctor Who magazine again this month, published this month. Brendan, where did you want to start with on this one? Or actually, can I ask you where to start with? What was Russell T Davies doing with his production notes?
I think he was trying to embody a Doctor Who fan of a certain age, a teenager, and just as we've just done for 2 hours and we seem to do all the time, and we're no different from any other fans, we chew the cud, we overanalyze sometimes, and that's what a Doctor Who fan does. And he views, I think it was what he said, the whole piece as the showrunner was over the first 30 seconds of the Star Beast. And he went through, it was like a stream of consciousness. Oh, if that's Jodie Whittaker's TARDIS exterior, does that mean Jodie Whittaker is still in? Is she going to? And there was loads of questions after each bit, and he just kind of imagined being a Doctor Who fan, watching the first 30 seconds, and our head going into some sort of kind of, hyperdrive, thinking, does it mean this? Does it mean that? And so he had questions about the music. Oh, Donna's theme's back, hooray! And then, oh, does this mean Murray Gold's going to go over the top again? And just loads of questions like that. So it's kind of, I think it was that hyper excitement that we have, and we've shown a bit of this morning. And I think that's right. Bit of humour, and it's clever. It's giving nothing away.
So is it just the whole production note? This is just speculation or questions from social media or something like that.
He mentions the content of every shot in the first 30 seconds of the Star Beast, and imagines what the fan would analyze about it and speculate about it. So if you hear Donna's theme, what does that mean? And does that mean Murray Gold's going to do the same old music, or is he going to do new? And it does all that kind of stuff. And because we see Jodie Whittaker's exterior TARDIS, does this mean Jodie Whittaker's in it? And it just had loads of, there's a London shot in it. Does that mean we're dissing Sheffield because Chibnall did Sheffield? And he just does that. And in a way, he's got us right, because we've just done that for 2 hours this morning.
Yeah. He obviously watches this show.
Good morning, Russell, if you are. Nice to see you.
Everybody, I just had to move because my battery always went flat. I mean, there's an awful lot of dog toys. You probably see I've been joined in the background by
look.
hooligans.
Oh, yeah.
I just wanted to agree with what Brendan said there. That column was a very difficult read. I understand what he's trying to do. It's very smart, very clever, but it took me about 3 reads to really get into what he was trying to do. And once I got there, I got it. Because we do tend to think like that. And it was a brave thing for him to do, but also, as you said there, a very clever thing, because he spent a whole column and told us nothing.
Yeah,
and that's a great way to fill up the space that you've dedicated yourself to for 2 or 3 years, isn't it? Really, yeah. I was. Thanks for clearing that up, because I saw this coming out on X, what used to be called Twitter, of course, and so there were a number of fans that were not very happy about it, and I didn't, because I don't get the magazine anymore. I wasn't sure why, because I did scan it in a shop one of the last remaining shops I can get it in my area. I scanned it and thought, I can't see anything that could be offensive in this until it. But basically, it's Russell's humor, isn't it? That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I was also interested in this bit as well. Welcome to Aladdin's Cave. So this is Jonathan Davis, who's just come on board as the brand asset manager. Tells it how it feels like to have 60 years worth of props. Not strictly true. It's not really strictly 60 years worth of props, because we do know private collectors, some of us are friends of ours who have most of them there. But Jonathan's got a big job on his hands here if he's looking after this, because we do know that certain things go missing. So what's he saying in his article? Is he effectively cataloguing everything right now?
Yeah, he's doing digital cataloguing. He's doing a classic curating of a
Big
Doctor
job.
Who. Yeah, and obviously they're going to have a massive warehouse. I mean, basically they're replicating what the BBC had in the blooming, was like first place, you know, when they had their great costume drama section and all the rest of it. And every producer could go, oh, we'd love that Roman set. And it seems like Bad Wolf have now thought, right, we're taking this very seriously. We're going to do this for the long term, but we need to, because in the end, what he's saying is, if it's properly archived and digitized, directors in the future, writers in the future can actually find a prop and use it again. And so that's good recycling, folks. Yeah.
It's not actually groundbreaking in what they're doing. It just happens to be about Doctor Who. Back in the day, of course, when they were all in the donut in White City at BBC Television Centre, that existed because they had that incredible. It went on for years. The incredible space where all the props from all shows were put, and they were all catalogued properly so that you could go in and get them. That's why you could see various things coming up. The whole Doctor Who area, of course, as we know, was also used in things like Hitchhikers and Blake 7 and stuff like that, because it was all there. And a director or a prop master would just go in and say, well, that'll do. But for Doctor Who, it was all there ready for them if they ever needed it again. I can't believe they haven't actually been doing that over the last goodness knows how many years they've been producing modern Who.
I think this is because suddenly we've got to produce. I think fair dues, doing something for the second time. RTD has learned his own lessons. And his ambition has increased. He knows that he left when he just set up spin-offs and Little Universe. And I think this time he's making sure the roots are well and truly embedded. And he is setting up this series for longevity. And so there's a lot of things they seem to be doing in a different way. And I think it just tells you there's an awful lot of planning going on.
Oh, there has to be. To make this work, there has to be. And also, I think they must also be quite aware that because I've got to be careful here because I don't want to accuse anybody. There's been various exhibitions, hasn't there, over the last God knows how many years, and these props have been going out of BBC site, if you know what I mean. I would be very worried to think how many actually made it back, because it's traditional, isn't it? Certain things have been accumulated by other enthusiastic fans.
Acquired, yeah.
Yeah, so it makes sense that everything. I mean, if they haven't had, as I said, I'm surprised they haven't had this catalog system in place before. They have to have a system that's in place where if you loan something out, it must come back. You know, there must be that agreement there. There must be somebody ready to bring it back or send it back, and send it back with care, because these things aren't cheap. So that's interesting.
I agree entirely, except the exception that breaks the rule is Blue Peter borrowing archival Doctor Who material. They lost it forever, you know.
Oh, bless. Yeah.
I think they're down the back of the settee, John, in the Blue Peter office, I think.
Yeah, I remember somebody once saying something along the lines of, well, that's where one of those mysterious hands comes in and says, oh, I fancy having that. And nobody, of course, bothered back in the day, did they? That one I would believe, if that's all true. And then the last thing we want to talk about with
that sort of whole, sorry, JT, again to interrupt that. Didn't John Nathan Turner end up with a whole sort of playroom full of all Doctor Who props and scripts and all the rest? Yeah,
it was called his house.
Yeah, but it was the BBC's property, and he sort of accumulated.
Oh yeah, he absolutely did. Yeah, the production office closed in early 1990, middle of 1990.
Doing that, we wouldn't have it.
Yeah, well, to John's credit, he knew that everything was going to be junk. So what he and Gary did is they got a van, threw everything in the van, took it home to Brighton. And good for them.
Did he not say it was part of his pension? Did he not?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. Well, Gary said that. Gary was always very much a case of like, we can sell this and make. Unfortunately, they never got to pensionable age, really. But there you go. So what we've got here now, this really excited me, guys. Now you guys get Doctor Who magazine, but this is one of my favourite pictures, and we've shown this on the Breakfast Show at all when we were talking about Bonnie returning to Doctor Who. This picture for me is just absolute sheer joy. I also really like, and I might nick this title for one of our shows called Highway to Mel. I think that's really, really brilliant. So was this an interview with Bonnie?
Yeah, and I mean, it's actually fleshed out a fair bit. I mean, when you get to the nutshell of what she's saying, she is so grateful that she's getting a second chance to kind of develop a character, a bit like we were saying with Kate Lethbridge-Stewart, to actually add flesh to a character that she thinks was deserved. She said in the 80s she didn't understand the show really herself, that she was never given an introduction story.
No.
And she's having the time of her life now. And there was a reference made to that Vesper being maybe a nice little reference to Delta and the Bannermen. And when she was driving Sylvester, she said, and she's so self-critical, but very aware, she said she didn't think she did a good job the first time round. So she is utterly grateful that she gets a... Yeah, she said, I'm getting a... Because she says, I screamed, I did this, I was over earnest.
She said what she was told. Yeah. Bonnie, you did what you were told, and you did it brilliantly, darling.
Yeah, and she wasn't. Yeah, she wasn't. The directors didn't tell her to do any different, but she has been. I mean, she's quite in the article. She's quite critical of herself, and she says, "I was a screamer. I did this." She said, "I was a kind of plucky, kind of over earnest. Always wanted to get everything right." And she anyway. So what she's saying now is, the TARDIS is impressive. She's been inside the TARDIS. She said that's really impressive. She said when she was doing a big finish called Mind of the Hodiak, written by RTD, in March 2022, she said him and Mel had a Zoom meeting, and it was a hoot. And that's when RTD possibly had the idea to bring her back. And there's a quotation in the article where RTD said to Bonnie, he's tempted to bring her back, and he said it's flying in the face of fandom, which I love. So that's what he said.
Why? I don't agree with that.
I think it's humor. I don't think he's trying to be too much more serious, because I think he could see the potential in Mel that was just not delivered. But yeah, she said it's a glorious script. She's loving it. She said her coming back will kill the stigma of the 80s Mel. So good for her, and she's lovely now. And yeah, it's just another actress who this time is getting a chance, and she's going to run with it.
I'm really pleased about it. I mean, we said when it was announced, didn't we, that we're all delighted that Bonnie's coming back. I mean, Bonnie is a massive star, and her huge success on EastEnders would have also prompted this, because hopefully some people will come back to see what Bonnie's going to do here. Some of them won't know that she was in Doctor Who in the 80s. I'm a bit upset that she's a bit down on herself. No, I totally think you did what you were told to do. The scripts you had were there, the director should have had more. Certainly John should have had more, which he admitted to me years later he should have done more with Bonnie. I think I'm so pleased to see her back, and I don't want to bring down on herself. It's not on.
She does say this time, because she said basically all I was told was I was a computer programmer, and she said I never went near one. She said, in the new series she does.
Yeah. Well, that's what we want to see. We want to see proper Mel doing proper stuff and being a proper rounded character. And if anyone can do it, then I have to say it is RTD, because he does understand that character. Yes, Paul?
I think JT, I was going to say that you want that title, Highway to Mel. That's an ex-companion tribute piece, I think, don't you?
We certainly will be looking at both Mel and Donna at some point in the next year, because obviously with these updates coming on, it's going to be important. It's going to be interesting to compare and contrast the both incarnations of the characters, if you know what I mean as well. So that's going to be great there. Yeah, I mean, Bonnie. I mean, who doesn't like Bonnie? I mean, I think she's going to be a massive hit. We've got Time Lord 2023 here saying, glad to see Mel back again, as I've seen her from the classic series with Colin Baker. Yeah, she was also, in case you don't know, she carried on into Sylve's first series as well. So if you haven't seen that one yet, have a look at season 24.
She says there's no carrot juice this time. She said she hated that scene, and I think she really is fired up to just do it properly this time.
Good. And obviously it sounds like she's got good scripts. So great. Brilliant.
Yeah, I met Bonnie around about the same time when I can't remember, she was in a play at the King's in Edinburgh, and I saw her there in something, I can't remember what it was now, but I said to her, I saw the clip of her on, it might have been Saturday Superstore or something like that.
Yeah. And
I said, I really enjoyed your clip with Colin with the exercise bike, and she kind of pulled her face and said, well, looks keen, so...
Well,
yeah. I mean, there's lots of questions about how she comes back, when she comes back.
When we talked about, we did our Sylvester McCoy show, and I revealed how fond I am of season 24. We spoke about Bonnie and the regrets we had there about, what could have been. But the point that was made was Bonnie has been nothing but loyal to this franchise. She has been
Yes.
nothing but loyal to it. You know, she could have, because she was disabused by Doctor Who fans, and it wasn't her fault. You know, she could have been as good as Ace or any other character, but when Cartmel came in, he wanted to do his own thing, and away they went with Bonnie because she wasn't handled properly. Thankfully, that was recognised by John Nathan Turner. Off she went. But subsequent to that, she was loyal to the franchise. She appeared in Big Finish. She did Infuse. She did spin-offs. Good on her, and I'm so glad she's getting the reward that she deserves. And I think this will boost the popularity of this character and really introduce her to a whole new generation.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for us, but I'm really excited for her.
Yeah, well, yeah, I totally agree with you. And the brilliant thing about it as well, it's going to reinvent Mel. It's going to reinvigorate Mel, who we know from the early days of Big Finish. When I first heard the Fires of Vulcan, I thought that's the Mel we should have had. Yeah. Absolutely fantastic performance by Bonnie there.
We will get sort of a mention of what her origins with the Doctor were, as well. I'm sure Russell will not be able to leave that alone. I'm sure of it.
Yeah,
we've got some interesting people. John is saying here as well, will she be a computer specialist within UNIT? Alex is saying Mel was a strange and short-lived companion, poorly directed and not given much to work with. She's properly discovered and explored that character in the meantime through Big Finish. Absolutely. Time Lord 2023 is saying, I wonder if Mel will be scientific advisor to UNIT. And TARDIS Spider is saying, not one scream. Well, no, you can't expect a woman of Bonnie / Mel's age now to scream, especially when she's had the experience she's had. I wouldn't expect any of them to scream now because, you know, it was like, oh, here we go again, you know, at that age. Yeah, brilliant. Right, so yeah, that's fantastic. The chat this morning on the Breakfast Show has been really, really lively. Thank you very, very much. We are, of course, dealing with the news that has been making the WHONIVERSE headlines through September. We're now in October, and we've got a lot coming up for you. Yes, so please like and please subscribe so you get notifications by ringing that bell as to all the shows we've got coming up. We are going to be celebrating Halloween, as you can see there. I'm really looking forward to those shows. We're going to be looking and talking about horror and its place within Doctor Who. So please join us with your comments and your views and what you're expecting to see horror-wise as we move forward into the next era. Does it have a place in 21st century Doctor Who? Let us know what you're thinking. That's it for today's version of Who's Views and today's breakfast show. I want to thank the WHOTASTIC panel for joining us. It's been a great and lively show. We are on the way now, of course, to the big anniversary, 60th anniversary month. So do stay with us. We've got lots planned, not just for October, but for November as well. I want to thank everybody that's joined us in the chat. Oh, TARDIS Spider seems to be excited about our reviews this month. The big hitters, Blink and Pyramid. We thought they were spot on, actually, for Halloween season. So hopefully you'll be able to join us for that. I want to say thank you to TARDIS Spider and thank you for that report, which we played earlier in the show. I think you missed it. You'll have to go back and watch it because we did play it. I want to thank Time Lord 2023, The Light Dreams, to John. I want to say thank you to Jack for joining us with all your fantastic comments there, everybody, as well. There was a lot of comments about the 15th Doctor and his outfits. A lot of comments about that. None of us know what's going on with that, really. We're going to have to wait and see what's going on with all of this. To Lex, thank you for joining us. To obviously, oh gosh, so many people that joined us today. Honestly, to Garbage, he was here. Jamie was here. So thank you to everybody. I have missed so many out. I shouldn't really do this, should I? Because I will miss you out. Thank you to everybody that has watched us today. Really, really big audience. And really thank you for supporting Who's Views as we move forward. Your views are always welcome on this channel, no matter what side that you stand on. As I said to you earlier, if you are a Who viewer and you want to take part in the show, let me know. Give me an email. The email is whosviews1@gmail.com. Come and have a chit chat with me here on the chit chat playlist. It'd be lovely to meet you. Doesn't matter where in the world. I'll always sort the times out. We'll get something sorted. So stay tuned to that. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me on today's breakfast. Here we go now. We're into October. We're nearly there.
Watch out for booby doos.
Yes, you saw it here first.
Oh my goodness. sounded like an average Saturday night back in the 90s, though, actually, all that sort of stuff, didn't it, really? Yeah. Brendan, what do you like to say to people about this channel?
Well, I mean,
like and subscribe.
You mean about the Wednesday?
No, like and subscribe.
Oh, well, sorry. Do you know, I've been so shy today about like and subscribe. Just in case you missed it, like and subscribe, please.
Okay. And now if you can tell them about what's coming up this Wednesday, because Brendan's had an idea which we will be putting through. It's the Secret Diary show. So tell us all about that and what's coming up this week.
Well, we fans, you may have noticed, we're not backward in coming forward. So, you know, when you've been in a discussion, it might be in a pub or, you know, at university or somewhere, when you're chatting to Doctor Who fans and they are slating an aspect of the programme, a character, a moment, a scene, you know, something like that, something that really everybody, it seems like the whole of fandom actually unites for once and says, wasn't that rubbish? Wasn't that trashy? And you're sat there nodding your head thinking, I loved that. I actually really like that, but I'm not going to say it out loud because you'll all think I'm an idiot. So the Secret Diaries on Wednesday, folks, and we want to hear yours because we've all been embarrassed. We've all been a little bit, this might be your moment, folks, on Wednesday to actually out it and actually, you know, it's therapy. Tell us something you've held in your heart for years and years, something you've been embarrassed about for loving. So tell us, it could be a character, it could be a scene, a piece of music, it could be a prop, it could be a costume. We're trying to limit it so it's not a whole story, but, you know, just honestly tell us those things that you have never dared say out loud.
Absolutely. So please join us live, as Brendan says there, this week for those memories, those guilty pleasures, those diaries. Jack says he struggles to find Doctor Who fans at uni. Well, we are here for you. We are here for you. Please keep in touch with us, Jack, and chat with us and join us this week for the Secret Diaries of a Who fan. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You'll find that show is already up on the channel. Ring the bell so you get a notification of it when we go live this week. Thanks for joining us. We will see you very soon here on Who's Views, and we will be back at the end of the month with another breakfast show. And that time, of course, we'll be looking at all the news that's happened in October. And I'm sure there must be more trailers to come. Stay tuned. We'll see you all again soon, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.